yeah. Welcome to another edition of Tales from the B-Side. This episode number 5. We got Ishe Smith on with us. This always brought to you by CL Management, TV Tracksuits. Big shout out to the mighty LDBC. We got my co-host Thomas from the Browns, KG, whose camera never works. So we got one that needs some I got dial-up internet, and we got another one that the camera don't work, man.
We good, man. Cut it out, man. Cut it out. I'm just not at home right now. That's all.
You just not at home right now, man. Listen, bro. Since you came up with the idea last week of how you wanted to start the show, I'm gonna let you start the show. How about that?
How do I start the show? Telling people about a guy that you guys have talked to more
Oh,
frequently than
see,
me.
this the bullshit I'm talking about right here.
And look, and I knew you were going to play the game of semantics and try to play that. Ishe, hey, bro, don't get caught up in with the two guys up top going to try to play. They're going to try to play a little game with me today because I think they're kind of jealous. I know Thomas is a little jealous because of last night. You know what I'm saying? And then Kano, that's his way of being jealous. And at the same time, he's trying to play semantics because of how I say I want to approach the show. I told him, and I'm going to say this, Ishe, and you can take it from here because I'm going to allow you to do it because, like I said, you spent your name in this game of boxing. I told Kano, I said, I want to come on and I want to break down why we're doing the show. The reason we're doing the show because we want to hear from the B-side because those are untold stories. So, and at the same time, I said, I want to be able to give an intro of who we're talking to, whether it's a boxer, promoter, manager, some entity in boxing. So therefore, we're at this crossroads right now where these guys are more familiar for us because I know they've talked to you directly more, so they're more personable.
He's talking to him more.
See what I'm saying? So that with that being said, I figured Kano wouldn't have played semantics and would have said, I'll say, hey, Thomas, can you leave this off because I know you know Ishe a little more personable than we do. But no, he shot it at me. He shot it at
bullshit,
me,
bro.
Thinking because,
it's some bullshit, bro.
You down here with me, bro. Don't get caught up with that stuff up there. Kano gonna try to, he gonna try to hit the whammy bammy a few times.
He's trying to get at the Puerto Ricans. I see what he's trying to do. I see what he's trying to do. But Ishe, man, welcome. Basically, what we're doing is like every week we're gonna have this show and we're gonna talk with fighters now that been on the B side. Not that you've been on the B side all your fights. A few of them where you got some stories as to how the breakdown negotiations went, fight week, and then the actual fight went down. I got a few fights that I have in mind that I know that you've been robbed. But we're not talking just robberies. It's talking about, going into those fights as well. So, with that being said, 29-11, Ishe Smith, congratulations. You was just into the Nevada, Las Vegas Hall of Fame as well. Congratulations to you and want to welcome you to the show.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it, man.
You know what, Ishe? Hold on, man. I can't put you up there with that dude, man. Hold on. Let me move him out the way. I'll take care of him down here.
Congrats, man. You just celebrated 23 years of marriage, man. I didn't even think you was 23 years old, dog.
I appreciate that. That's kind of a double compliment.
You look like a baby, man.
I'll take that, man. I'll take that with but welcome, Ishe. I know you got jokes for days. You make it fun. I got to train a catch in a few minutes. So, I don't know where you want to begin. You start tell us a story, or tell us a time, when you was the B side,
Well, let me ask him about the Sergio fight. How about that? I know that was a B side probably, and it got in a split decision. The first one?
No, that fight was actually on the Contender. So I don't know.
Gotcha.
That fight was made on the show, small ring.
Oh yeah.
Ring was small, five rounds. So if that that fight would have been in a in a normal setting, I probably would have knocked him out. I had him hurt at the end of the fifth round. But things happen. I don't regret my time on the show, but that Sergio ended up becoming the champion and was a great champion. He's commentating now, so I wish him all the best, man.
All right, I digress.
Yeah, I remember that the Contender.
But
I'll throw one out there. I know there was one good and one bad. So I'll throw the Fernando Guerrero. Talk to us about.
Fernando Guerrero, I think that was at a turning point in my career where I had got I was working with Lou DiBella, and Lou came with me and offered me to fight, and I was all for it. I trained I trained actually mostly every fight I got with Lou. Well, I think I was on the B side. I think I fought Polak. I can't think of his first name.
That was the good one. I was gonna say the good one you
Yeah,
won. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I was on the B side with that. They really brought me in as an opponent and expected me to lose. And I had even told my team, I said, if I can't beat a guy like this, I'm gonna retire. I said this guy is just, and I took the fight on short notice.
Hmm.
When you're on the B side, you don't really have, per se, like I'm gonna go to camp here, I'm gonna set up here. You don't really have a say in the money as well, and most B-side opponents are just trying to, back when I was coming up, it's more money in the game now, but most B-side opponents, we try to, you just trying to get in where you fit in. And
Mm.
so with the Wolak fight, I just knew he was tailor made for me. And even fighting him in New York, I was just like, man, I got friends and family out there. So, I know I'll have, a good crowd. And I just knew he was tailor made for me. And, I just, and he was. It was a great night to be to be him in New York. Especially he had so many fans there, man. I don't
Yeah.
remember I don't remember where it was at, but wherever it was at, I just remember it sounded like a soccer game. They cheered from round 1 to round 10. It was just some type of chant or something going on, and great, it was on Showbox, so you couldn't see the robbery. The Guerrero fight was another one that Lou got, that I felt I had did enough to win. you know, I felt I had did enough to win. And the problem about being on the B side is you go into those fights knowing that you practically have to either knock the guy out or dominate every round, because the judges are not going to give you close rounds. And you take fights like that knowing that, but as a fighter, you got bills to pay, you got kids, you got
Mm.
expenses. So that's just, I thought I did enough to win. I'm not gonna lie. I even knocked them down that fight.
You dropped
I
him.
thought
Yeah.
I did. Yeah, I dropped them that fight. I thought I had did enough to win. Same with same with Danny Jacobs. That was another fight that I can't remember if Lou got me that one or not. I'm trying to think. He may have got me that one too, but I thought, maybe not win, but again, when you're on the B side, you just know you up against it already before you go into those fights. And I actually hurt him in that fight, but one judge gave him every round. I think he scored it like every round. It was like
Yeah.
100-89, and I'm like, bro, you didn't even give me the round I hurt him in, and I'm like, so those are just like some fights. I know I went to Canada and fought this one guy. I can't think of his name at the moment. He was knocking everybody out. I think Kirkland ended up stopping him. Um, Kirkland ended up stopping
Was
him
that
on HBO.
Powell?
HBO. No, it was can't think of his name, man. If you pull it up, I know it was he was knocking everybody out. He was strong. He fought a lot on ESPN, and Dan Raphael was in love with this guy. He would talk about him all the time. I can't think of his name, but I remember that was another close one that could have went Quint. And that's just off like the top of my head. And as you mentioned,
Oh,
the Sergio Mora fight was another close one.
Veins. Was it
No,
Veins?
no, that was a close one. I wasn't on the B. I spent some time on the B side, but I've also been on
Yeah.
the A side too. But Vanez was just a good fight. But no, this was early in my career. When I was searching. I'm trying to think. You would know him. He's either Cuban or Puerto Rican. He could punch, but he really couldn't take a punch. If you pull up my
David
box on P,
Estrada.
no, I beat him. No, I was on the A side for that one.
I thought it was Powell. You fought
No,
early.
I lost. It was
Powell was
probably like
crazy.
Powell too. I wasn't on the eight.
Oh, Julio.
Yeah,
Julio.
Joel
Joel
Julio.
Julio.
Yep, I was on the B
Joel
side for
Julio.
the Powell fight.
Yeah.
I had all the. I think I dropped him too. I think I meant.
Uh,
I don't think they
I think
counted
I
it.
meant. Yeah,
I
they
don't think
may have
they
not
counted it.
counted it, but I remember that as well. Yeah, I've had my fair share of A side fight. Had my share of B side fights, man.
so let me ask you how different. And I mean, we us people that have been in the game know the difference, man. But to the casual that don't know, how much different is it, man, when you're on the B side from the A side, man? So just so they can get an idea.
Well, when you're on the B side, you don't have no terms. You're not making up no purse. Most of the time, you're gonna be in the fighter's backyard. You going up against the promoter's fighter, so you going into these things, with a couple strikes already against you. So you have to do the best you have to do. So that I mean, that's the major things is knowing that all my B side people when I was on the B side besides Joe Julio, I was fighting those guys in their backyards. Fernando
Mm.
Guerrero, beside and Danny Jacobs, but Fernando Guerrero and Sakul Powell, I was on the B side in those fights. And that's the hardest part about it is knowing that you got it's like you playing baseball and you go up to plate and you got two strikes against you already.
There, yeah,
And
yeah.
that's the hard part. You trying to hit a home run and you down 0-2 already. You ain't even swung the bat.
Yeah.
You down 0-2 already, getting up to the plate. And that's the hardest part. But I always took it with a grin on my face and took it on the chin, man. And I just always went out there and did my best. And sometimes I was victorious, sometimes I lost very close decisions, man. And that's just what it was. But I always just went out there and gave my all, man.
I'm gonna let you talk, KG.
Okay.
I'm gonna go back to the when you were speaking about the contender. It kind of made you a different level of B side because you had a kind of exposure based on the population that watched that show at that time. Would you say that'd be a good idea to bring something back like that so these guys can get exposure so when they do get robbed, people don't just cheer or we actually get the real like for instance last night with Calvin Davis and Albright.
I think it was they tried to bring it back probably about 6, 7, 8 years ago,
Hmm.
right before I was getting ready to retire. And I just think the market for it, I think it was way ahead of its time. And that was the problem with it. I think it's very good.
Hmm.
I think that what the premise was good. I think we're being watched by 10 million homes every week, and we wasn't on cable. We was on like NBC, so
Hmm.
that was big.
Yeah.
So if it just was ahead of its time, man. You bring a show out like that today, and it's just everybody's multimillionaires. Everybody don't need to box. Everybody's getting all these types of money off of Instagram and all this stuff. It was just way ahead of its time. But it's kind of hard to bring it today just because you don't really need promoters today. You could promote yourself. You can go on
Hmm.
Instagram and show a reel of you being in the gym or go live. You could just do so much to promote yourself now, and that's why it's so much money in the game versus when I was coming up. When I was coming up, it was, you were getting 15,000 from me. I made $11,000 for fighting Randall Bailey. That was a main event going 12 rounds on Showbox. And that was I
Wow.
Crazy.
I made 11 grand for fighting him. I made 10,000 for fighting David Estrada in the main event, So I didn't get my biggest purse until I fought on the contender. And that was the difference between now and today. Today, these fighters are making so much money, and it's just kind of disrespectful to the game. I mean, these fighters don't even try to make weight. You saw what happened with Keyshawn Davis. I mean, you
Hmm.
got to respect your craft, man. You got to take pride in what you do, man, because in an instant is gone. I was blessed to be able to fight 19, 20 years,
Hmm.
but I don't know if these guys will last that long, man, because they're getting so much money, and I just feel like a lot of them don't respect the opportunity and what they have in front of them. Like Ryan Garcia, bro, you quit in your most biggest fights. You quit,
Hmm.
you don't fight, you don't put out, you do all this stuff, say racist remarks, do this and do that. Man, these fighters are very blessed to be
Hmm.
making the kind of money they make. And that's just because of, the guys when I was fighting and the guys even before me, is what kind of the sacrifices that we all went through to not be making this kind of money. It's just a different day and age for fighters, man. I wish they would take more pride in their craft, man.
So you saying we robbed? They somewhere down the line they got robbed of having to face adversity.
Well, I'm happy that they're making more money because I always felt like the promoters were, there's no health insurance in boxing, there's no pension, there's no retirement, there's nothing for us. So I'm happy that they're making money. Realize the power you have in your careers now. Realize the type of money you have. Fight the fights, give the people the big fights, and actually show up to fight, man. Be ready to fight and prepared. That's something I learned from all the greats in training camp. And that's why I learned everything. I mean, being a B-side opponent is one thing, but when I was coming up and I was just trying to make my way in boxing, I went to camp with Pernell Whitaker, Oscar De La Hoya, Shane Mosley, who else? Fernando Vargas, uh, Chad Dawson. I was in all those camps, man, sucking in all that knowledge. Vernon Forrest, trying to learn how to conduct myself as a pro and then trying to make my mark, saying like, yo, I'm not coming down here as no opponent. I'm coming down here to make my mark and show these that I'm serious, that that I can fight. So I never went to camp to take an ass whooping, man. That's where I really made my mark, is at training camps.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. But you know what I don't get, man, and people probably misunderstand me. I hate to kind of sort of get off topic, but it really ain't, man. This is why I'm looking at the Brian Norman situation where he's the champion and now he's going to Japan to defend his title. It's almost like he's a B-side champion. I don't understand why you would have to risk yourself going to Japan when you're the champion, and you should make them come over here. I understand a lot of people say the money, the money, the money, man, but all money ain't good money, man. And you're taking a huge risk going to Japan, where you don't control nothing over there. I, am I
Well,
tripping?
the way I look at it is, if at the end of the day in boxing you got to strike while the iron is hot, right? You got to make the most money you possibly can. You got to pick the biggest fight possible. So if I'm managing Thomas and I say, hey Thomas, we can get a fight here. Fight probably gonna pay you 250, 300,000 here, or we got this opportunity in Japan. This fight gonna pay you 800,000. Everybody makes more money. And at the end of the day, this is what this game is about. It's about money. Because as I told you before, it- there's no pension, there's no retirement, there's no
Mm-mm.
nothing. Whatever we make, we got to pay out people. We got to pay our team. We got to pay that. So when I'm eating better, everybody else is eating better. So if I'm gonna tell Thomas, hey, don't take the 250, let's go get this 800, and I'm gonna believe in my man. If Brian Norman's team really believe he that guy, you go over there and you defeat that guy, and the money is greater, better. I mean, if they see the fight on some type of TV, they'll see that whether you get robbed or not, and maybe the commission will, the sanctioning body will order an immediate rematch. But at the end of the day, man, you got to make the most money as possible, and that's what this game is about. And without all the shenanigans, if you the him and you like that, man, put forth your effort and train and go to camp and do what you need to do. And I can guarantee you, the reason he going to Japan is because that fight is paying way more than any fight he could fight here. It's the same thing with those with them fights in Saudi Arabia and going over there, man. I wish they was fucking around when I was fighting. That's no brainer. You go over there and get that paper, man, because that's what it is. Boxing is the hardest sport, but we have been the most undervalued and least paid for years. I can go play baseball 5 years, basketball a few years, as a professional athlete, and I got pension and health insurance. Boxing, I ain't got shit. What I retire with is what I get, and nobody teach these fighters. You know what? Set up a retirement account, set up a 401k. Every time you fight, let's take a little money and put it in here so it can get some. Nobody tell these fighters that, man. Now I bet you most of these fighters right now walking around with no health insurance. They ain't got no health insurance, so if something happen to them, they just paying cash for that. Because unless you married and your wife getting it, you damn sure ain't gonna pay for it. You feel me? You ain't gonna pay for it because I did that. The shit is high. And it was high when I was coming up. When I was coming up in the game, it's very high, man. And these fighters don't like to spend money. And if these managers, They collect, 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 collect. But you think Shelly Finkel sit down with his fighters and tell them, hey, put this money here, put it there, you'll never have to work again. Put it here, do this, let's do this, let's set up you a retirement account. He only care about money, man. That's it. They only care about they cut. But I bet you, he's from that Jewish heritage, and I bet you his money is long and he taken care of for the rest of his life. But I bet you most of his fighters, a lot of them retire broke, and he ain't put them on game how to make no money, man. That's just how these managers and how these people are. And that's a shame about how the game is. So I'm happy. I'm always gonna advocate that now the fighters are making money, man. Whether they on the A side or the B side, I'm happy for them.
Man, I gotta defend myself, man. Ain't not all managers are bad, man. I manage, but I don't be doing that to them fighters, bro. I don't be
No,
doing them. I don't
I've
be
seen
doing them
some.
wrong.
I've seen some store. I've coming up, man. I remember fighters getting monthlies. I used to always tell fighters, don't get monthlies, man. Get your money up front. Because I've seen fighters get cut from their monthlies, man, and not have money because they may have lost a fight early on. I've seen all kind of stuff with managers, man, and the fighter is the one at risk. So, I mean, it's
Yeah,
pretty much nothing I haven't seen in this game. I've pretty much seen it all.
I feel you, man. K Rod says, Ishe, do you believe the B side always gets manipulated the most? When most boxing promotions want to see their favorite A side always keep on winning to prevent taking a loss fairly.
Well,
That's a,
the mindset of a B, see, when I was on the B side, I always believed I could win the fight. As long as I had a good camp, I always believed I could win the fight. And that's why a lot of them was close. I never took a fight and was unprepared. Like I never took a fight and you was like, damn, Joe Julio almost stopped Ishe or Danny Jacobs. I mean, I hurt Danny Jacobs. So I always believed I can, but when you're on the B side, you already, like I said, you already know you got two strikes against you before you even get up to the plate because everything is set. Number one, you're not gonna get the allocated the tickets to bring your family. So you just going with you and your team. When I was on the A side, I could take my whole family. Hey, bring everybody, my kids, everybody. You already know you ain't gonna get the proper meals, the proper rooms, everything to you gonna be the bare minimum when you on the B side. And I know for me, I was on the B side. I actually had a name coming off the contender and fighting on TV so many times, like fighting the Randall Baileys and the David Estrada and the Sam Gars. Those were all the Sal Lopez. Those were all television fights. So I actually had a name. So I can only imagine if you're on the B side and you didn't have a name, how the promoters would treat you. So everything for the A side gonna be laid out. Everything for the B side, you're gonna do you're gonna get everything, you're gonna get two tickets instead of four, two flights instead of four. So it's just, you already know you up against it. But man, I say that if you know you already up against it and you fighting a promoted fighter, go out and lay it on the line, man. You thought what the dude did with nobody thought Caleb Plant was gonna lose that fight. I didn't, and you saw how that dude fight. He
Mhm.
showed up ready to fight, man, and that's how you got to. When you know you up against it already, you got two strikes against you, man. You got to go up to the plate and say, "Hell, man, I'm swinging for the fences."
Oh, he was muted. What he said?
I know I was muted, but I
He over
said
there
Caleb
talking.
Plant is
Over there talking
trash.
shit
That's what
about
I
Caleb.
said. But go ahead, Thomas.
No, I'm just let
I,
AC's cooking right now, man. Um, I'll just ask one question: was there a fight that you going into the B side where the guy was just better? The guy, like, you just did your best, and it was just like there was nothing you could do.
I don't know if it was. Let me see. There was one fight I had. I don't know if it was the B side, but he was a champion. Yeah, I was the B side because he was a champion, and I fought Lara, and he was just good, man. That was the first time I felt like he didn't, we had a good game plan early on, and I think we made it interesting. But then after that, man, it was like he was like two steps ahead of what I was trying to do. And maybe, that was just one of those things. I wish like it was like a sparring session so I can go home and like analyze like what did I do wrong? How do I fix it? Because he was very good at what he was able to do. I didn't. Lara has some very long. If you look at his reach is like that of like a heavyweight or a light heavyweight, and I wasn't prepared for that. He was just able to execute so much better. He was like two steps ahead of what I was able to do, man, and I just couldn't do it anything. I couldn't do anything. He never really hurt me, but he just was very good at boxing and staying away and staying out of trouble. And and that's just one of those things. I was like, damn, he was better tonight. The other fights, I felt like, man, like I said, like the Guerrero fight and the Julio fight, man, those were 1-2 round fights. The Danny Jacobs, those were all
Yeah.
1-2 round fights. Some people had me beating Sakul Powell and some of those bad decisions. Even Banez, that was like an even fight, and it was just close. Not for those my first time going down in my career, he caught me on the counter punch. It's just, close fights, man. Close fights against very good fighters. None of those fighters that I ever lost to was just awful shitty fighters. They were all
Mhm.
pretty well good fighters. Guerrero was just a close fight, man. And like I said, I knew I was. And you got to remember, when you're on the B side, you taking shit short time. You're not getting full camps.
Yeah.
They're not gonna call Thomas and be like, "Hey, we got a fight for you against Danny Jacobs 3 months from now." When I was a champion and when I was on the A side, I knew when I was gonna be fighting, and I can plan accordingly. When you're on the B side, sometimes you will get calls and you're not even in the gym. You're not even training. I remember when I took
Mhm.
the Warlock fight. I told Eddie it was my gonna be my first fight working with Eddie. I hadn't had a coach, and I said, "Hey man, Eddie, I want to bring you in for this fight." He was like, "When is it?" And I told him I was like, "We got 5 weeks." And he was like, "I wouldn't take it." I was like, "You wouldn't take it?" He was like, "Nah, I never took a fight that short notice. You ain't gonna be ready." I said, "Man, if I can't beat this guy, I'm quitting. I'm retiring." I said, "There's no way this guy can beat me." And Eddie was like, "You sure?" And I remember the purse was like 10 or 12,000. He was like, "All right, man, if you sure, let's go out there." And we just had the great game plan, but I only had 5 weeks. And my coach was telling me in the beginning not to take the fight. And I got kids, I got bills, I got stuff I got to take care of. So what you gonna do at the end of the day? Everybody say when you're on the B side, when you not the A fighter, everybody say stay in the gym. Ain't nobody gonna stay in the gym 24/7, man. It just and if you going to the gym, you're not gonna be in the gym like that. You still gonna be eating and doing what you want to do, nowhere close to weight. And nobody lives in the gym 24/7. And the only people that lives in the gym constantly 24/7 are opponents. And I was nobody's opponent. They knew like if you called me for a fight, it was gonna be a tough ass fight. Like I said, it wasn't gonna be no easy walk in the park ass fight, man. Those fights were very close, very tough fights for me and them.
That Powell fight, that they were building that guy as like some monster. Like he was, I think he was undefeated, and he had like 14 or 15 KOs. And then he had all the Polish people in Brooklyn, right? Because that fight was in Brooklyn. It was before they made the Barclays. It was some other arena in Brooklyn, and they were and the Polish people, they come out to support their fighters here in New York. So that was pretty cool that you went in and you said you knew you was going to beat this guy in
Yeah,
five
I
weeks notice.
said, if I can't beat this guy, then I should retire. It's just I didn't think his skills, and I knew he was a pressure fighter. Like he just, like you said, he pressure, and that's how he wore down a lot of people, and he stopped a lot of people. It's just he just kept his pressure on and on and on. And I was like, man, I got way too many more boxing skills to let somebody pressure me like that. You know what I'm saying? And I was just never like a
Mm.
gym guy, like great in training camps and great in the gym and couldn't translate it to the fights. There's a lot of fighters like that. I was always like, go out on my shield in the gym and go out on my shield in the fight. You know what I'm saying? And that was it. And I knew like that guy can't beat me, man.
Anybody?
Yeah,
I
I
don't
was,
got
I
any
was, I
more
was
right
hoping
now.
KG had
So
something because I know he's a big gym guy. So
No, I'm just listening, man. I was gonna tell you go ahead, man, because he's flowing. Like Ishe's over here, like filling in the pockets without us being able to ask anything. So
That's what
so it really is kind of story time because I think it's on me triggering himself. So he's like, yeah, what about this and what about this and what about so he's tying all the shit together himself.
he knew what you was gonna ask. He answered it before you even got the chance to
But you
ask me.
know,
I said, "Go ahead."
the bad thing about being on the B side is you don't think you're good enough. You know what I'm saying? And for me, my story is different because I started off like with promise. You know, I started off, very good. I started on the local club level and I was undefeated. I went to training camp with Vargas. Vargas went on HBO, mentioned my name to his via satellite against the biggest fight in boxing that year. Everybody was coming for that De La Hoya Vargas fight, and he thanked me for getting him ready. And every promoter wanted to sign me, so I went from it was like a video game career. I started at the low level of fighting in the gyms and fighting in these small arenas, and then I got picked up and I'm headlining shows. I'm fighting with, I meet Diego Corrales, come really good friends with him. So whenever, I would go to these camps, man, I would always talk to the fighters because these guys are A fighters. And when I took when I went to to Gary Shaw and I started fighting on these big shows, and I remember I told you I made 11,000 for fighting Randall Bailey, and I get my check and the check is like 3,000. And before I even pay my team, I still got to pay people. And he's like, well, you had training camps, you had this. And I'm like, shit. And that's where the whole bankruptcy in my career happened. And everybody thinks I was getting out of my contract to go on a contender. No, I got out of my contract because I couldn't fucking live. I still got to pay my team and bills with a $3,000 check. And I can't go take my trainer $300. And and I'm just like, damn. So I was filing bankruptcy to get on my check. The contender called. That's how that happened. I went on the contender as this arrogant, brash, undefeated guy that had never lost, never even barely, I fought a former world champion, beat him, that, he had more knockouts than I had fight. And then I suffered my first loss against Sergio. So against a split decision, against a fight that a lot of people thought I won on the show, and I never seen the full edited version. So when you take your first loss, and you're undefeated with so much brash and it's on top of the world, it kills your confidence. You're like, shit, I'm not invincible. How do I build? So then I signed with Golden Boy, fight those fights, and then I get to fight a couple times with them. Supposed to be under Bernard's wing, and Bernard fucking abandons me once I take the fight with Saku, and I lose to Saku. They release me. So now I'm just out in the wilderness trying to find myself. So I didn't know what it was like to be on the B side. I had no idea. Because everything was like catered to me. Besides that kid that was fighting in them small arenas, once I had got past that on the video game and I was in the big time fighting on TV, I didn't know how to be a B side opponent. I didn't know, I can't bring my wife, I can't bring my kids. It's just me by myself. And then I'm going through a divorce at the same time as I'm trying to get, my career together. So those were the most troubling times of my career, man, going through that. Then I dealt with suicide. And those were the most troubling times of my career. And I remember when Vernon lost to Sergio, they called me to go to camp, and I said I'm with it. So I went out to camp. I was with him for about a month and a half, 2 months, and man, he really put me on game about how to pick yourself up. Like, yo, he told me, he took me out to dinner. He said, I'm gonna come pick you up for dinner. I didn't think he was, because fighters say shit and never keep their word, but he ended up coming. And he said, we went out to dinner, and then he was talking to me. He said, man, you remind me a lot of myself. And I was like, well, what do you mean? He was like, man, nobody wanted to give me a chance before I fought Shane. He's like, nobody wanted to give me a chance, so I'm always grateful. And I finally got that chance when I fought Shane. Nobody wanted to fight me, and I got that chance and I seized it. He said, man, your time will come. You just seize your moment when the time comes. And that's something I'll never forget. The two of the closest people I was cool with was Diego Corrales and Vernon Forrest. And I put them on my trunks, not a testament because they were like my favorite fighters, because I remember the game they put me on. And nowadays you got social media and you try to put these kids on game, and the first thing they want to do is talk shit about, oh, you got this, you can't tell, yo, bro, I'm not even coming at you like that. I'm telling you. Just like when I came at my man, when I came at
Shakur.
Shakur and he was talking shit about Bob Arum, and I was just like, number one, I've been that guy talking shit about promoters. I was the guy that was mad at NBC. I was mad at how that happened. I was mad at taking that L that I felt I didn't take. I was mad at how they wanted to promote me after the show. And I talked shit about them publicly, about they were being racist, and Mark Brunette, what he had me in a cotton field. I'm going online and going off. But I severed a relationship. I severed a relationship when I was young and dumb that I didn't have to sever. So me being able to make money in the future, like maybe appearing on another show or another one of his reality shows or something, I severed that as a young kid. So don't make the same mistake that I make. So I'm trying to put him on game, and you taking it personal, man. It's not personal, bro. Everybody had good careers. You're gonna find somebody that had a better career than you. Floyd called himself the GOAT, but a lot of people still gonna say Ray Robinson is the GOAT of boxing. Everybody gonna say Muhammad Ali is the GOAT. You're gonna have people that think, you may have some people sitting at home and say Rocky Marciano is the greatest heavyweight ever to live. So everybody I did everything I wanted to do in my career. And even if I didn't, I was happy with that. But don't take it personal, man, because somebody trying to put you on game. And that's what these fighters now, man, they making so much money. Instead of taking the knowledge like I was when I was open, they take it personal. And that's why I don't really talk to a lot of fighters on social media, that is anyway.
Man, something not quite to that extent, but something like that just happened to Jamel Herring when he was telling, he was trying to look out for Edwin De Los Santos' health, because he was saying, hey man, they need to keep an eye on him because he saw how dry he looked and drained he looked on the scales, man, and De Los Santos went off on him, man. Jamel was like, whoa, hey, bro, I'm just worried about your health, bro. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. This generation is, I don't know, bro.
No, well, your generation is weird. I know you said you like Kevin. I used to be real cool with Kevin until, I'm at the end of my career. I'm trying to, I probably shouldn't take in the fight. I was going through some stuff with Mayweather Promotions at the time, and the fight was like offered as a settlement. I wasn't in the, but again, I had that, it's towards the end of my career. I knew I was having a bad camp. I was having just a terrible camp. I was fighting that kid. I was sparring that kid, Cody Crawley.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
a-
yeah. I know who he
and
is.
and he was just giving it to me every time we spar. I'm like, bro, what the fuck is? I was like, back in my day, I would kill this kid. Like, and that's when I knew, because fighters will tell you they lose it in the gym. They don't lose it in the fight. You lose it in the
Yeah,
gyms.
yeah,
So I'm just, and not gonna lie, I didn't take a lot of ass whooping in sparring or in fights, but this kid was just giving it to me. And I'm just like, bro, I remember I was coming home and I'm like, I don't got it no more. But again, I need, I've had a training camp now for 8 weeks. I got a team I gotta pay. I got a kid getting ready to go off to college. I got tuitions I gotta pay. I can't pull out of the fight. I gotta take the fight. But when I went in there, I knew it was gonna be probably my last fight. But somewhere I said, if I could just, every fighter think they got a chance if they can will themselves, because fighters will
yeah,
themselves
yeah.
to do shit. We will ourselves. You gotta have some type of will to just even want to get hit in the face for a living. But I took it personal when I found out Kevin was in his camp. I'm
Mm,
like, bro, you like my little bro. I watch you grow up, and
yeah,
you helping him get ready. So I took that more personal more than anything. And Kevin to me has always been a great fighter in the gym. He's fucking Roy Jones in the gym. But and I could have put him on game, but I've never been cool with him ever since that, because I took that more, because I would never do that. If Diego was like my best friend, Vernon was my best friend. If De La Hoya would have called me to go work with one of them to train for them, I wouldn't have went, bro. I've
I
been like,
get.
nah,
I got you.
man,
I
I
got you, man. I
can't.
got you. That's
And
my
I would have
brother though.
told
So
him,
man,
Yeah.
that's kind of an uncomfortable conversation with me because he's my brother. But did you ever get a chance to spar with Flats?
who is flat? Oh, I don't know if I sparred David. No, David was cool though, man. I don't think I ever sparred him though, but David was real good people, man.
Yeah,
David was
yeah.
real good people.
He talk a lot of shit, but he good people.
Yeah, David's good people, man. A good fighter when he want to train and do right though. When
Yeah,
he and shit,
yeah,
he a good fighter when he train and do right. But no, I
yeah,
like David. David was cool.
yeah. I don't know. I call him Flats, but that's what we all call him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I know
But
him by David. I don't like calling dudes by their nicknames and shit.
I feel you, man. I feel you, man. But see, I go back to the all call outs and mandatory stage with him, man. So we go way back on that, man. And it's just a little history and stuff like that, man. Were you in there? Were you ever able to watch Rolly Romero spar in that gym?
Rolly was coming in when I was going out. He was coming up as I was going out. I think he may even fought on one of my cards. From for him to not really be limited, but to have that Mayorga s appeal, where not like a shitload of talent. You ain't gonna see him and wanna. I'm not going. If I'm a boxing trainer, I'm not looking at him to imitate him or teach a fighter how to do what he do. Like I would sit down and watch film and be like, man, I love the way Diego keeps his punches so short. I love the way Ali stay on his legs. Look how Ray Robinson opens up. So I got a whole bunch of VCR tapes in my garage, hundreds of them,
Mm.
where I would just analyze fights and watch fights. Rolly ain't that. Rolly ain't that guy, but for what he's done with his career, being how I would say not really limited, but being what he has, man, he's done remarkable, man. He's done absolutely remarkable, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I talked to a lot of people there, like Serena McCoy. All the normals, all the regulars that was over there in that gym. You know what I'm talking about, man. And
Hmm.
he boxes a lot better in the gym than he does when he gets into a real fight. When he gets up under the
Yeah.
lights.
I thought he looked really good his last fight though. I thought that
That's
was
the
one of
first
his
time.
yeah, I thought he looked really good against Garcia. I think
That's the first time he
he
brought the gym
you
to the damn ring, though.
First time he stayed
I
composed for real.
yeah,
36
thanks.
minutes. Yeah.
First time and I think for him, I compare him to Mayorga so much because Mayorga had the act, right? But he couldn't really back it up in the ring, even though he beat my man twice. He couldn't really. I just think that was Vernon's kryptonite. But I think once Rolly lost that act, he was able to really focus on really who he was. And I've been knowing his pops for years. His pops been knowing his pops since I was like 10 years old, man. His pops been always good people. And I'm happy for him, man. It's good to see him succeeding, but he's done well with his limited. It's like a pitcher only having like three pitches and just going into the Hall of Fame, a fastball, a curve, and a slider, and just striking out everybody. Bro, that's what I compare Rolly to.
hmm Speaking of Kevin, though, man, I always told everybody I believe he stops Caleb Plant if they would have fought him. But that's just me.
It depends on which Kevin you get. If you get in the in gym, I told you in the gym, Kevin looked like Roy Jones Jr. But in the ring, I don't like I said, I haven't watched his fights lately, but that was the knock on him coming up. When he was younger coming up. In the gym, he was Roy Jones Jr. In the ring, he was something else, something completely different. He has so much talent, and if he can tap into that, then he would be great. But Caleb is on his way out. He had no reason fighting. He would never fight Kevin Plant. He would never fight Plant. He would never fight Norman, man. He has no reason to. Why? Why are you even calling that guy out? You got to make your name. You got to make
Norman,
your
no, he
name.
was he was calling out Caleb Plant.
Yeah, I'm saying he calling out Plant, but Plant don't need Kevin, man. Go.
Come on,
Just,
bro. See, I
nah,
disagree with that. So he fights
nah.
McCumbee. He fights McCumbee instead of Kevin, which nobody you might
Yeah,
have
but the
known who he
damage is
was.
done. What does he need
A
him done for?
McCumbee, a
What does he
McCumbee,
need?
and then you get
But
a
Yeah.
Resendez.
again,
He's a shell now to
again,
me.
what does who has more to lose? You got to beat somebody. Who has Kevin beaten? You got to
Who did
make your
McCumbee beat?
No, I'm saying, but you got to make your mark again. If I'm gonna get the same exact money if I'm managing my guy right here with the
Mm,
shades on, why am I gonna fight somebody? Why am I gonna send my fighter to fight a fighter trying to prove something if I'm gonna fight the same fighter and make the same money? What does Kevin bring to the table for Plant?
mm,
He
man,
bring
what?
absolutely. It's the same money. It's like when I remember when my opponent. So Lara, the first time I was supposed to fight Lara, I think he went and fought Canelo. He pulled out. He pulled out of the fight, and they had to get me a last minute replacement. So they got me a guy. They said so they was giving me all these names, and then uh the one the one name that fought everybody, Rosado, Gabriel Rosado.
Mm-hmm.
They brought his name up, but my money was never gonna change. It was
Mm,
all I had been in camp training for Laura the whole time. Laura pulled out to go fight Canelo and make money, and I was cool with that. But
mm.
dog, I'm not about to fight Gabe Rosado on like a notice when I can
Yeah.
go and fight this guy and make the same exact money. It's
Well,
common
we
sense.
we just
It's
gonna agree
common
to
sense.
disagree on that one. And Queen, I'm never gonna sit my ass down. I'm always gonna speak my mind. God damn it, shit. We just gonna agree to disagree on it. That's all.
That's like boxing 101 though. That's boxing 101. If they would have can't now if Devin Haney is the promoter, if he say, "Hey Plant, we gonna give you 200,000 more or 100,000 more to fight our guy," then okay, make the fight. But what I'm basing it off of, if the money gonna stay the same and my money ain't gonna go up, why am I gonna make the hard? Why am I gonna make my fight harder? I'm fighting. Nobody knows Kevin. Nobody knows Kevin.
Nobody
Nobody
knew the
know
company.
exactly, but I know my fighter's gonna
Yeah, that
win.
was the whole point
I
behind it.
know
Yeah.
that's the whole point behind it. I know my fighter's gonna win.
You just made my point. He can't beat Kevin. That's my point.
No, no, you
Thank
you
you.
you
Thank you for
said
making my point.
there's no
He know he was gonna get stopped by
Hey,
Kevin.
hey,
You made
hey,
my point
Ishe, what
for
did I
me.
tell you in the beginning of the show, bro?
no. All I'm saying is you got one fighter that has not even beat a fighter with a pulse. And then you got another
Mm.
fighter who's fought the top of the game, top the echelon, and has been a world champion. So if I'm managing Plant, I'm not telling him to go fight Kevin. Go take the easy fight so we can position ourselves to keep making this
Plant.
money.
Let's just keep it a buck. Plant didn't want no smoke with Kevin. Period.
No,
Let's keep it
I
a
don't.
buck.
I don't know about that, bro. I don't
I
know.
do. I do.
I've seen. Caleb. That was probably the worst I've seen him look, when that had a lot to do with that opponent. I don't think Kevin beats that guy either. Not that guy that shows up.
Oh
And you
man.
and you and you
Yeesh.
gotta you gotta
Wow.
show me.
Man,
You
bro.
gotta show me something. You gotta show me something that Kevin has done to make a fighter like that say he don't want no smoke. That's been in there with the Durrell brothers slept him. That was in there with the one of the best fighters in the world and was doing well with him to the end. So you got to give me more than just
Mm.
some gym work and what a fighter has done. You got to tell me he didn't fought somebody, because if you ain't got no names on your resume, I can't say my man didn't want no smoke, because my man done proven he'll fight anybody. He done
Talk to
fought
him, Ishe.
and
Talk to him.
he slapped the shit out of one of them Charlo brothers backstage and
Talk
was
to
waiting
him.
on the smoke. So my man is
Shut up,
always
KG.
invited. My man is always invited to the bar. My man is always invited to the
Shit.
barbecue, and he done always showed up, showed that he ain't never ducking no smoke with gloves or without gloves. So
Man,
Slap a
bro.
motherfucker.
When Kevin actually beats a name, then you can say, "Bring me that smoke." But
This
until
is
until
this is a
then,
terrible. That's a
And,
terrible take, Ishay.
until then,
Terrible take.
say it again, Ishe. Until then,
A terrible
until
take,
then,
man. That's a terrible take.
you gotta be somebody, man.
you gotta be
You gotta do
somebody.
somebody,
Now,
bro.
now, now, why
If
would
you gonna
why
be
would
somebody,
But listen, it ain't about me wanting to see Caleb lose. Caleb has already lost. He's already proven to be a loser. I've seen that already. I
I
told
wouldn't
y'all
call
he's overrated. You know what I'm saying?
I wouldn't call the man a loser, man.
I
It's
do because he ain't never
it,
invited up my barbecue.
I,
Y'all
I,
get
I
y'all give that man a pass. Never mind. I'm gonna leave that alone. I ain't gonna
and
argue
look,
about it no more. I'm gonna leave
listen,
that alone.
and I'm just speaking on the outside. I'm not cool. Me and Caleb is cordial, but I'm not pro Caleb. I'm just keeping it a
Mm.
buck because when I needed help training, when I was asking him to help me during sparring, like yo, I need sparring. When I was getting ready to fight Tony Harrison, he didn't want to spar, and he was going back giving Tony Harrison pointers because I didn't know him and Tony was cool. But
Right,
so
right, right.
I'm not pro Caleb Plant, so I'm just keeping it a buck, bro. When you're in a position, I've been in that position. When you're in a position like Kevin Newman, you have to beat somebody. You can't go
Somebody,
calling out.
somebody
You
has
got
to
to
give him
beat
an
somebody.
opportunity at some point.
No, you don't have. But
Yeah,
can
that's the
you
other
can't
side. Yeah.
you can say Caleb is maybe like top 10, top 5 of his weight before this fight happened. Top 10, top 5. They was talking about a showdown with Charlo if he won that fight. Bro, you got to go beat like a contender or something. You got to beat somebody. When I signed with Gary Shaw, my first fight was with the guy that fought James Page for the WBA 147-pound title. Go beat a guy like that. Go beat a contender before you
Yeah.
start calling out former champions and stuff. You got to build your record up,
You know
man.
that
I'm
You
not.
can't.
Hey, listen, man. I don't
you
want to
agree
hear.
with this? You agree with
Hey,
that too, Carno?
no, the chat gonna have to stop calling me a hater because I really ain't a hater. It's just he is overrated to me. He's already
You,
proven to lose already, man. He would have lost to M Billy, and Billy would have knocked his ass the fuck out that same night. You know what
but
I'm saying? Berlanga would have beat him. Newman would have beat him. I could keep naming
so
them if you want.
but you know what? Newman ain't beating them Billy. Newman ain't beating the guy that the guy you just beat Caleb. He not beating none of those guys. You know why? Because there's levels to this shit, man. You gotta fight guys to build up to that more.
Nah, but Ishe Resendez, that was probably his best performance. He got stopped
But
by
he
Elijah
was
Garcia though. I don't think
is Newman
I don't
beating
think
Elijah Garcia? You gotta no,
I think so.
you
Yeah.
gotta have the body of work. You can't
See,
just
see,
this
see.
ain't basketball.
Ishe, I think you just hold a grudge against Kevin for what you know.
No, man. No, I'm saying
It sounds like to me, bro.
no. I'm
I'm
saying you
loving this.
gotta
yeah.
no, I'm saying is you
I'm
got
gonna
to
protect my
build
brother
Yeah.
at all
fighter.
costs, bro.
You gotta
I'm
build a
protecting
fighter.
my brother at all costs,
You
man.
know what I'm saying, but you got to build a fighter. You can't tell me a high school baseball team is getting ready. Let's go play the Yankees. You can't go from playing high school baseball to going to play Major League Baseball. You can't go from playing college football to playing the NFL team. You got to beat somebody. You got to fight somebody.
Yeah, but the same scenarios for Resendez because he didn't beat anybody to
Wow.
get Plant because he lost at a
He
lower
was a
weight to
last minute
Garcia.
replacement. Remember that
Yeah.
he got
I tell you
replaced.
what. I tell you
He
what,
got
Queen.
They
replaced.
showed up. They stayed
Queen,
ready.
He got
you can
replaced.
invite him to your barbecue because I
They
ain't invite.
stayed
And
ready.
Billy would have knocked him out. And Billy would have knocked him out. And Billy is 10 times better than Resendez. Let's not act like
And Billy
no,
defense ain't the
bro.
greatest though. And
No,
Caleb might have then been able to outbox him because his defense ain't the greatest. And Billy
bro.
was
He would have
all
got
offense.
cracked before it was all over.
Yeah, but Caleb's consistently
Okay,
tied
Yeah,
for
I'm
but
like
not
the
and Caleb
last
was
saying
four
lacking at the
fights.
defense because he's
I'm
so
not
offensive.
saying I'm not saying Caleb just beats all these fights. What I'm saying is when you're on that level with what Newman is on, you have got to get in fights to make the fighters want to fight you or position yourself to fight them. You can't call out big fish when you're a little fish. It just don't work that way.
It
When
don't.
you're in the I've been in that pond.
I
I've been
mentioned
in
you
that
other
pond.
names though. I mentioned you other names though. I didn't just stick to that one name. I did mention him Billy as
But
well.
I'm saying when you've done it like Planner's done it, he's been a champ. He's defended his title. He's been on TV multiple times. You
Uh,
have the right as that champion, as the A side. This is called the B side podcast. So I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
tell you
yeah,
something about
yeah.
the A side. The A side dictates who they fight, how much is gonna be and when. So Caleb has earned that right to dictate that. And if he don't feel like Newman
Caleb's
brings
a
enough to
bitch.
the
He a
table,
pussy. Caleb's a
it
bitch and a
it
pussy. That's what he is. Ain't
nah
nobody
man,
tearing
Okay.
me apart. I said
nah
it.
it's they
He's
said the
soft,
same
bro.
thing.
Soft.
They said the same
He's
thing about
soft,
Floyd,
man.
man. They said the
No,
same.
I ain't never said that about Floyd. Floyd ain't
No,
get tired in the last 5 or 6 rounds like Caleb Plant do, running out
no,
of gas at the last half.
he didn't run out of gas against
He's a
Gurrell.
bitch. He's a bitch. You can tell
He
him I
didn't
said
run.
it.
Damn.
He has a lot of hate for
feel it
Caleb
all the
Plant.
thing.
But
The
in all fairness, to be fair, I don't think I got Newman over Plant. Plant, even his fight against McCumbee, against a guy who's not in Newman's level either, he struggled. He got
Yeah,
hurt
but I'm
against
saying
McCumbee
physically
too.
strong though.
but
So I
He was
mean,
physically strong.
he was,
but
but you're not supposed to get, if you're a good boxer, you're not supposed to get caught with those shots
We see it
against
damn
a guy
every
like
night, B.
him. And
I'm
everybody
just saying,
get caught,
bro.
dog. Everybody get caught.
People get
Everybody
touched
get
as
caught
much as they ain't
something
supposed to get touched every night, B. You know
every
that,
night,
damn
bro.
Thomas.
And
You
you
know
gotta
that.
remember, he on the back nine, bro. He on the back
Yeah,
nine.
Caleb is on his back nine. You right.
He on his back nine, dog.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
what it
his back
is.
nine. He going down that hill quick
So
too.
No, but I told
why
y'all. I
don't
said I felt damn the Canelo and Benavidez fight took something out of him because
took a
now
lot of them out of him,
because
dog?
his
It took a
shuffle
lot
ain't
of
there no more. It's almost like a
look
gallop now. So
when you fighting those guys and you taking those punches, dog. It all of them fights take a lot out of
yeah.
you. You know what I'm saying? And he's on the back nine.
yeah,
But as the guy that's been the A side, that which he's been, the guy that did fought premier fighters, to say he needs to fight a guy like Newman is like, come on, bro.
Oh man, bro. Hey, we gonna we
Well,
hey.
you say you paying attention to the chat.
no, and I what I'm saying is this: has 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 New has Newman ever headlined his own show
Hey man, listen,
with it being
man.
around him?
Man, we gonna get off my brother. We gonna get off my brother
It's a
now, bro.
question. They don't
We ain't
blame
gonna
you.
get off my brother now, man. You know what I mean? We gonna stop with it, bro.
Don't bob
You
like
know.
Steve. You know what I'm saying? Tell us
All
what it
I'm
is.
saying
Man,
is, man. All I'm saying is, he could have fought him instead of McCumbee. He
Coulda,
could have
woulda,
fought him
shoulda.
against Resendez. You're telling me levels? McCumbee wasn't on that level that
but
y'all keep talking about. This
Because he didn't
level.
have to be.
was McCombie a replacement, or did he sign to make that?
He was
Did
a
he sign?
replacement.
Oh,
Thank you. There we go again. Two
uh,
replacements.
two replacements.
Two replacements.
Uh,
Two
So he
replacements. I
wasn't on
don't.
that level. What?
No,
He could.
I don't. I don't
That's my
need to
point.
make. I don't need to make you money and make you go make your own money. You think you think you
Wow.
think you think.
Wow.
Listen,
Wow.
you think you the truth. Go be the truth. I'm the A side. I don't have to. That's what A side is. See, this is the B side process. But I'm gonna tell you
Yeah,
how the A
yeah,
side.
yeah.
I'm gonna tell you how the A side think. I don't need to make you money. Fighting me makes you money.
Man,
Beating
bro.
beating you
see?
does nothing to my career.
See?
I know you want me. I know
See?
you want to fight me. I know you want to prove a point against me. I'm not making you no money. Go make your money and prove yourself over here. I'm the A side. Two
Listen to
replacement
that,
opponents.
Kano.
I pick who I want to pick.
Bro,
That's how it
Listen to that,
y'all,
is.
Kano.
stop. Y'all think all that ganging up gonna do some shit? Ain't nobody giving him a chance. You know what I'm saying? All that level talk, that's bullshit talk. I'm gonna tell you
It's
right
level,
now,
bro.
that
You still
It's
level
a,
don't
shit
show
is
and prove, man.
bullshit, bro. It's
Don't nobody know
bullshit,
you.
bro. That level shit is bullshit, bro.
We don't believe in you.
Bullshit,
You need more people.
bro. That
level
level
is the
shit.
bullshit.
Oh
That's
my
an
God!
excuse not to fight somebody. Oh, they ain't on
It's
this level. Oh, they ain't
no,
on this level, bro. I
no,
don't believe in that
because
shit.
boxers say that to
I
their
don't
face.
believe in that
You know
shit.
what?
You fought nobody.
If when they was calling me, when they called me, they said
Did you say
I
you
got
weren't on that level? I ain't taking that
no
fight. I ain't on
no
that
wait
level.
wait when
Or
they
did you
called
want that smoke?
when they promoter called me. Number one, I never called out people like that. But when my promoter called me and said we got Sam Gar, he fought James Page and give him to me. Oh, it's only gonna be 10,000. Give him to me. When they called me and said, okay, we got David Estrada. He was undefeated. I was in camp with David Estrada with Fernando Vargas. I knew he couldn't beat me. I was the chief sparring partner. David Estrada was like the third sparring partner. I give him to me. Oh, it's another 10,000. Oh, we got Randall Bailey. I knew Randall. I had watched him on pay-per-view with Don King. I knew how strong he was. They said we got 10,000 again. I said, God damn, I just beat two motherfuckers. Three people for 10,000. I beat Sal Lopez, who was a replacement opponent on ESPN, opened the Home Depot Center. Sam Gar, and David Estrada for all for 10,000. Now I'm getting ready to go fight Randall Bailey, a two-time world champion, for the same 10,000. I said, Shelly, you got to do better than that. I had just signed Shelly. I said, I don't want 10,000. Go get me more. He came back to me. He said, Ishe, Gary will only give you 11,000. It's a take it or leave it type of deal now. You know what? I'm him. Give me it. I'm taking it anyway. I dropped Randall Bailey, and you know what that fight taught me? That fight took me through some shit. I learned something by taking all three of those fights. I
Uh,
learned some shit. So until you learn some shit and fight your way up, ain't nobody in this game gonna give you shit. You gotta
Talk
go
to him,
take that
Ishe.
shit. You gotta go take
Talk
it.
to him.
So stop asking people for fights and begging for it. Motherfucker, you gotta go kick down the door and take that
That's
shit.
right.
I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. I should be fighting Plant. Put yourself in a position where motherfuckers say, yeah, you scared of that motherfucker, not
Mm.
just you. And motherfuckers say, he beat this
Mm.
person on TV. You know what? Because when I wanted the big fight, I had already been headlining. I was either main event. This motherfucker ain't even on TV. And you asking them to fight one of the former champions in the game. He ain't even on TV. You got to
hey,
do
man,
something, dog. You
he,
got to do
he's doing
something
what he's
in this
supposed to
game.
do. He called more than just
No,
one
it
name. He
ain't.
called a bunch of names.
It ain't being noticed. It
He
ain't been
Again,
called
taking
a
notice,
bunch
Ishe.
of.
bro.
He
Again,
called a. See,
You
I
ain't
let
done
y'all
enough.
talk. I let y'all talk, bro.
You ain't did enough.
If Devin is his promoter, get him the fights that will position him where them names gotta come to him. And you ain't gotta do no calling out. Oh, my promoter called me. My
Go
shit was
fight somebody. How the
Tuesday.
fuck is he gonna fight
Oh my
somebody
God.
if none of them want to sign? If all of them are too bitch and pussy to sign a contract with him? How's he supposed to fight somebody?
You got
He don't
Any
you
agree
in
with
your
damn
weight class.
name.
You got thousands, hundreds of
Any
people in this
name.
side of the water in your weight class.
Bro,
Fight
he's named
somebody.
a bunch of people, bro. A bunch of people. He ever went and fought Gallegos in Mexico, which I thought he got robbed in that fight. But still, y'all gotta do your homework, man, and don't stop with this level shit. Cause
no.
I'm in the
It's
game. That
levels,
level shit,
dog.
level
It's
shit, we throw
levels.
that shit out the window, man. See,
Hey,
see,
Ishe,
It's
tell him again.
levels,
Tell that
dog.
motherfucker to go fight somebody.
Listen. Dog.
bro.
I'm
Nah,
telling
bro.
you. You know how I'm gonna tell you was levels. I was fighting in a ballroom that didn't even hold 1,000 people, making $1,000 for 4 rounds. Before you knew it, I was headlining in my own shows in California. Then I headlining the show in Vegas. I'm fighting on the strip at the Palms, headlining. My picture all on the slot machines and shit.
Did you ever
My
let somebody tell you you ain't on their level? Let's be real.
No, I knew I was him. So I was on slot
Okay,
machines.
then,
But bro, if you're not at that level and you're not fighting the fights, stop calling people out and just go take what's yours. Stop
bro.
calling people out, go take what's yours. That's the promoter's job. Whoever promoting him gotta get him the right fights, whether it's the David Estrada to build you up. I told you 3 fights before I got to Randall Bailey. Sam Gar, David Estrada, Randall Bailey. Get those type of fights where a guy's maybe 15-2, 13-3. You know, where people are like, man, this gonna be a good fight. Get you a name. And then once you knock him off, then say, where the plants at? Where the Darrells at? Where these motherfuckers at? I'm him. You can't be fucking fishing in the lake with the small
Hold on, man.
fish.
He ain't
Hold on. Let me move KG off the screen. He making too many facial expressions and shit. Oh man, oh man.
He ain't lying though. I'm waiting. Look, Ishe, bro. I'm waiting for you to tell a lie. That's what I'm waiting
No,
on. No, you
Bro,
hitting it
I
on the
told you
head.
this is the B-side podcast, but
it is. It is.
just as many times I've been on the B side, I've been on the A side. You know what my man Thomas said about the B side, about me being on the B side? Some of those decisions was bad. But you know what? The same mentality I had when I was on the A side, like give them to me, give them to me. I had the same mentality on the B side, knowing I had 2 strikes up against me. Motherfucker, go make a name for yourself. Go call some names out. That is your promoter's job. You
Peep
with the
game though,
one
Ishe. Peep game though,
you
Ishe.
with the
I
best
would
fighter.
never. I would never let nobody tell me I ain't on their fucking level. Ain't no motherfucking way somebody come in my face and tell me that I ain't on their level. That ain't gonna
Hey
happen.
man,
I don't give a fuck what you think.
Hey,
You
I
get
don't give a
comfortable
fuck
all
what
you
you
want,
think.
but I'm gonna beat up everybody else after that. That's all.
yeah,
Do your damn talking
dog.
with your
If
hands.
he
If
if he
you're a fighter and you don't believe you on that level, you need to get the fuck out of boxing, bro. Straight
But
up.
if I'm managing Thomas and he's a former world champion, he's got the career as plant based upon not the last fight. So I'm managing Thomas. He's a former world champion. That fought Canelo. That made I think he made 10 million when he fought Canelo. We trying to get back to where we need to go from a business aspect. We trying to solidify this unification with the Charlo brother. I know my man Thomas already slapped the shit out of him in the locker room, so that's going to
Mm,
sell. The fight in itself is going to
I,
sell. Where does Kevin Newman fit into the equation that I'm
listen,
trying
bro.
to
I
do
will
with
agree. I will agree that he does need to fight Charlo. I agree with you on that. But I don't go into this narrative that somebody ain't on somebody's level because you wouldn't let nobody tell you that. I wouldn't
I'm
let
gonna
nobody tell me
But
that.
that's just
You
words,
know what I'm
though.
saying?
That's
that's
just
just
words,
words
though.
because you know what? At the end of the day, does Kevin know what it's like to be in the trenches? Like when you're in that 10th and 11th round, do you know what it's like? When I fought Randall Bailey, I had only been 10 rounds twice, but them 10 rounds were valuable to me. I went 10 rounds, 10 solid with Sam Garr, 10 solid with David Estrada. When I fought Randall Bailey, Randy, he
I think
caught
in
me
the
with a
Gallegos fight he went through the
yeah,
trenches. The
yeah.
Gallegos fight.
He, I fought Paul Wolak
Y'all,
with,
y'all must have not saw that fight.
but Randall Bailey caught me with a fucking body shot in like the 10th or 11th round, knocked all the wind out of me. Shit hurt, but because I had been in those trenches, I was ready for it. Again, when you say you're not on my level, it ain't nothing to disrespect. It's that Kevin ain't been in those trenches.
Well,
If I'm plant, I'm saying the same thing too, bro. You're not on my level. Get on my level, dog. You know what I respect about Antonio Tarver is he showed up to the press conference. He kept knocking on the door, knocking people off before Roy fought him. He kept knocking on the door, bro. You gotta have
mm,
your promoter
Mm-hmm.
doing that dirty work, man. You can't just be sitting online calling people out and you ain't even fighting on TV. Like, bro, nobody even see you. Nobody even know who you are.
man, the
Nobody know
disrespect
you.
is crazy on here, man. The disrespect is so crazy,
Hey,
man.
Ishe, I'm still waiting for you to tell a lie, man. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, man, say it.
I'm just
Disrespect is
keeping.
crazy, man.
I'm just keeping it buck, man. I
I'm
want
keeping it a buck, man.
all fighters need. You know, once you've been at that level, man. I've been fortunate. I've been at both levels, man, and
I think the
you know,
Gallegos fight was the one that had him go through the trenches. I just know a lot of people didn't get to see that fight. I know, I get it. Everybody don't watch everything.
what he need to do. They need to find somebody that maybe lost a tough fight. Somebody maybe coming up that's got a kind of a record like him, and they need to do it. You know, prospects fighting each other. You know, I was a
I just
prospect
gave you a
fighting a
name, Queen
prospect.
71. I just gave you a name. Like I said, man, y'all got to do your homework. I can't tell you
No,
everything.
when David Estrada was a prospect when I fought him. You know, he was undefeated just like me. When I fought Paul Wolak as the B side, I think he was undefeated at the time.
Hold on,
Yeah,
hold
when I
on, hold
He's
on,
fought
hold
undefeated.
on.
Yeah.
Queen 71, the guy that knocked out, that stopped Khalil Cole, is the guy that Kevin Newman went 10 rounds with in Mexico. That's the
Yeah.
same guy. And he got robbed that fight in
And
Mexico.
and Newman and Newman won
And they
that
gave
fight
it
and
to
gave it to
Gallegos.
Gallegos.
So if you want to know, I know some history
Yeah.
now. So, Khalil Cole
well,
did get his lick back. Khalil
but
Cole
you
got his
know,
lick back. But
but you got a situation where this man got a very powerful boxer in the game that has a lot of influence with the promoters, and if you believe, um, Haney Haney
they
needs to
ain't doing
put him
their
in a
homework.
Haney needs to put him in a fight, man. That's
They ain't
just the
doing their
bottom.
homework, man. I
Haney
don't know
needs
how
to
many.
put him in.
I don't know why these people protect Caleb Plant so much, man. I have no idea how he gets invited to the cookouts and all that, bro. I have no
Man, he
idea, bro.
invited to
Nobody's
man. He did.
protecting him.
Yo, you know what,
Nobody's
Caleb?
protecting
Caleb
him.
Caleb is the John B of boxing, man. He always
Man,
be
shit.
invited, dog.
Not
He's
over here. He
invited.
won't. Not
He's
over here. He
invited.
won't. Shit, I know one damn thing. He won't be able to slap me like he did Charlo. I know that. I know that. This shit.
I think Caleb
Yeah,
Caleb
he's
is
on the
Yeah,
way
he
definitely
out
on
on
his
now.
way out.
he
I
he
mean
on he on the back.
I mean ever since the
He on
Benavidez
the
fight,
back
he's
nine,
not.
bro. He on the back nine. That's
Like I
for
said,
sure.
Hey,
That's
look.
Yeah.
Canelo, Benavidez, and then an unexpectedly damn physically strong McCombie, and
right.
then he
And
crosses
then
paths
this
with
other guy.
Resendez.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? So nah, bro. What are we
You know,
chasing?
Haters, man. Y'all tell you what, y'all got some haters over here, man.
Yeah, Queen 71 is
you gotta
Queen
remember
hilarious.
71,
that
man. Hey, listen.
it's a
I'm just
business
saying,
at the
man. I
it's a
gave you a
business
name.
at the
I
end
gave
of the
you a
day.
name, and I gave her a name. Not you, Ishe. I gave her a name, and they don't want to take that name. But this dude is
But you
legit
want
beat.
you want my A side fighter to fight a guy that took a L off TV in Mexico that nobody saw.
Exactly. Come
Bro,
on
come
now,
on,
Kano.
bro. It was a
Like, come
robbery,
on,
by the way.
bro.
It was a
Oh,
But
robbery.
either
but you know
way,
was,
that's
what?
neither here
But
nor
hold
it
there.
on,
was
wait.
That's the
robbery.
Either
levels.
way, you want I'm managing KG. You want my A side fighter that then made me his manager a shitload of money. You want my A side fighter to fight a fighter that's been fighting off TV that took a L in Mexico that nobody saw. Come on, man. That don't
Make
even
that make
make
sense.
it's a business at the end of the day.
You
That
know
don't
that,
make
I,
Kano.
sense.
You know that, Kano.
I'm
Now,
gonna address the I'm gonna address the question, man. Is Devin Haney's job to get him a fight?
So
Really?
yeah.
He's with DHV.
So
that's
then
what
we need to
I
be talking to
how
them.
many that how many times I said that, Thomas?
Yeah.
How many times have I said
We was
he's
busy
with
arguing, Ishe. We was busy arguing.
But he
I've
said
said
it.
it.
I
We
said
was
it. I
busy
ad libbed
moving.
it.
You know what
I
I'm
even ad libbed it. See what I'm saying?
saying?
Listen, I didn't even have a manager when I was taking them B sides. I didn't even have a manager when I took the Warlock fight. They just Luke called me like, yo, you want this fight? Yes. You want the Fernando Guerrero fight? Yes.
See?
I'm trying to kick down the door. Something get in here somewhere. And the one thing, even though I won one and lost the other, the one thing that people remember is, man, that fight was close. He got robbed. I'm not gonna advocate for a fighter fighting off TV, getting beat in Mexico. He probably got
All right, man.
robbed, but my
You know
fight is
what,
the
man?
A
You know what,
side. My
man?
fight is the
We
A
gonna
side.
hey we gonna have to switch we gonna have to
You
switch
know
the
what?
subject because I can't let the disrespect for my brother to be keep going like that.
There's
Ishe,
no
you gotta
disrespect. Where's the
appreciate
lie?
Ishe, you gotta appreciate my loyalty to my brother though. You got to appreciate
I,
that, bro.
You
it
gotta
ain't
appreciate that
nothing.
this man ain't lying though.
It ain't
Man,
nothing. It,
K,
That's what you
it ain't
gotta
goddamn
nothing.
appreciate.
KG.
Christ.
Well, let me put it on. What would that? You gotta appreciate, my loyalty to
I,
my brother.
I appreciate your loyalty, but bro, I'm just keeping it 100. You know, at the end of the day, I had to take myself out the equation and just put myself in the boxing mindset. And like I said, if I'm managing anybody on here and y'all done had Caleb's career, it does not make business sense for me to put any of y'all in a fight against a guy fighting out in Mexico off TV that nobody saw. It makes no
I don't
sense.
I don't know the answer to that question, Queen. No idea.
See?
I don't have the answer to that question.
They ain't negotiating that part.
I mean, he could Isha, you still cool with Joe DeGuardia?
Me and Joe have always been cordial, but I haven't.
Because he promotes a guy that's in the weight class, undefeated. I think
Listen,
that would be a good matchup. Bill Haney now lives in New York. I think Junior
when
Union.
when I
He's out
was
of
when I
Brooklyn. That's
you
a
know
fight for
what's
Newman right there.
you know
You could
what's
build him up. I'm telling you,
well, you
he's
know what's
undefeated
crazy.
fighter. That's
You know
somebody
what's
Newman could
crazy
beat.
is that all these fights that we talking about that I had as trying to kick down the door, I was making short and small money for. I told you guys I was in 10,000, 11,000. These guys are getting paid to fight these type of fights today. So why wouldn't his team want to put him in those type of fights to get him the money? But I'm never going, whether it's Kevin Newman or somebody else, I'm never going to advocate for somebody calling out one of the top guys in the sport when you haven't done nothing. Now, if you beat a couple people, I'm gonna be like, yeah, give Newman that fight, dog. Get him. He's trying to kick open the door. But bro, you fighting off Mexico, man. You fighting on PBS. These guys fighting on the big shows. He fighting on pay-per-view and shit. You fighting on Telemundo, bro. Like, ain't nobody paying attention to that shit.
Man, bro, come on, man. I asked nicely we could switch. Ishe, come on, man.
I fought on Telemundo. I fought on Telemundo. I got a fight right now. I fought on Telemundo.
God
Hey
damn, bro.
man,
He
hey
just
man, in my modern voice, man, Ishe, tell that motherfucker, man, you brought this shit on yourself. You know what
KG,
I'm
shut
saying?
the fuck up,
You brought
KG,
this shit on
man.
yourself.
I'm
That's what you did.
like, man.
That's
Hold on, man.
exactly what you did.
Yeah, what? I can't hear you, KG. I can't hear nothing you saying, bro. Whoa, 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 whoa.
You put the man in the driver's seat, you there gonna wonder why he
Hold
never able to
on,
get up and
hold
pick it up
on.
like
Y'all
that.
talk to him a minute. Y'all talk to him a minute. Hold on. Let me get off this for a second, man. Y'all
Yeah. Nah, but hey, Thomas, did you see the private chat?
Hold on. Let me see. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, you
But
okay?
hey,
Okay.
Ishe, I'm gonna tell you, man. I really do appreciate you yourself pulling up. And actually B-siding the fuck out of this shit because you sprinkled the A side on it. So I'm gonna say this is like in comparisons to me. I was in the military, and on my way out, transitioning out, they don't tell you a lot. The doctors don't tell you much. Uh, the benefits them sides don't tell you much. The shit that you learn the most is sitting in the waiting room talking to another veteran. So anybody listening to this show, Isha has pretty much given you both sides and why they spell out the way they do. So anybody listening, I think you'll gain way more information from this B side, and you can even look past and kind of graze past Connell getting kicked a little bit because he's trying to defend his boy Kevin Newman, trying to
Wow.
defend Kevin Newman, but Ishe was hitting it on. He was on point, bro. You know what I'm saying? So I gotta salute you, but hey, I gotta cut out because I got single daddy duties then popping off. So um, I'm looking forward to that if you come back again, man, because I know you got more stories.
Well, thanks, man.
Connor, you was on mute, I
I
think.
appreciate you, man. Thank you for your service, man.
I said, don't go. No, yeah, go ahead and go now, cause this is about to get more interesting here in a few minutes, man.
So I'm gonna holler at y'all. I'm gonna go back. I'll probably be listening to
Yeah,
you guys in the chat, man. But shout out to
yeah,
you,
yeah,
Ishe.
yeah.
I appreciate the A side stories that mesh with the damn B sides that told us,
Yeah, I don't
the
think
ugly
y'all
sides of both.
I don't think y'all will ever have anybody on here that's actually been on both sides of the spectrum. That's actually was at the top, was on the B side. Like I could tell both sides of the spectrum. I just know what that's like. You know what I'm saying? I know what it's like when you're trying to prove yourself and you want a big fight. And then I know what it's like when you want somebody to cater to you, when you want
You
somebody
damn
to
right. You goddamn right. I brought my
okay.
brother over here.
What's up with it? Talk to me. Talk to me. Talk to me.
Jesus Christ, man.
Hey,
Talk
hey,
to me.
man, I don't know. I've been arguing with this man Ishe for about an hour now,
But this
bro.
ain't even that
What's
kind of show, man. Hey, Kevin,
Hey,
what's
man,
we
what's the
we we
word?
we've been
pause and shit.
hold on,
No, no. Talk to me.
hold
What's the word?
on.
What's the
You
word?
said you was
He cut
what's
him
up,
off.
man? Man, I was just talking about the Caleb Plant situation and all that other good stuff, you know. And he telling me you need to fight
Oh
somebody that
yeah,
you ain't on his
yeah,
level, and I'm
yeah.
over here
See,
trying to defend you and fight. No, you know.
that sounds good. But see, the guy that Caleb Plant just lost to a guy I beat, and got a split decision over a guy that I smashed. That dude he fought. That's nothing. That's easy work for me. Very very easy. Very easy. And Ishe knows I can box. I mean, regardless if he wants to admit it or not, he can say I'm not on Caleb Plant's level, but he knows we used to go on at Floyd's gym. And we don't really talk about sparring too much because it's just sparring, but he knows what goes on. He knew what was going on at Floyd's gym. So with that being said, he could say I'm not on Caleb Plant's level. Okay, cool. Neither was the guy that he just fought supposed to be on his level. And what happened? Man beat him from pillar to post. So at the end of the day, it's all about opportunity and getting a chance to show you either put up or shut up. That's how that shit goes. So he can say I'm not on his level all he wants to. But that guy lost to a guy I beat and struggled with a guy that I whooped. So you tell me what you could tell me what you think. That dude wasn't supposed to touch Caleb. That dude wasn't supposed to go 6, 7 rounds with Caleb, if we're being honest. And that dude, I would have smoked that dude that he just fought. So if I'm not on his level, then neither was the guy he just fought. But he just proved he was on his level though, didn't he? He just
No,
proved
but
that, right?
you can't. I don't do hypotheticals
Did
when
he
you
did he just
say
put okay, so was
no.
Caleb
I
supposed to
don't do.
smash dude, right? Was
I
he
don't
supposed to
do.
smash him?
I don't do hypotheticals. Like
But wait, was
I
he
would
supposed to
beat.
smash
I
him
would
though?
beat this guy to beat that guy to
Was he
beat this
supposed to
guy.
smash him? Was he supposed to smash him? Yes or
I
no?
thought he was. I thought he was going to win, but I never have been the guy to do hypotheticals because Mike Tyson should was supposed to smash Buster Douglas and he didn't. So I
Yeah,
don't
well,
do. I don't do hypo. I don't. I've never done that in boxing. I just know when you're on the position, you have to kick the door open, and your promoters got to get you the fights.
yeah, but
Calling
but
out
what but
fight,
okay, but I
calling
hear
out
you and I feel
fighters,
you on
but
that part. But when you
But
say
calling
a
out
guy's not on
fighters,
a level, guys, level is what do you mean by that? Because
no, but because you haven't fought on that level. You haven't beat those guys on that level. So when if
okay,
I'm I
but
already told them
who is
if I'm Caleb Plant,
yeah.
I'm if I'm Caleb Plant and I'm managing Caleb Plant, you really do nothing to me to for me
No,
to say, let's fight Kevin Newman. That fight does nothing for me whatsoever.
and that's and that's
So
that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. But when you
and
say on
plus the opponents that have fallen out, the opponents that he's fought has been last minute replacement
who
opponents.
who
McCumbee was a
no
last
no
minute.
he wasn't.
He fought out.
McCumbee was always a lock. He was always a lock to fight him. He was always
I
a
never
lock.
thought. I just well, I
And
thought
who? Okay,
McCumbee
so let me ask him. Who did McCumbee beat to get a Caleb Plant shot? Who did Resendez beat to get a Caleb Plant shot?
it's not about that. It's about a business, and I understand what the A side is doing with business. You got to beat somebody. You got to put your name out there. You got to beat somebody and make me. You got to beat somebody and show your face and show I'm here. If you don't do that, most of these A
Okay,
side
so
guys is going to
let
fight
me
you.
put it like this. All I could do is ask, right? All you could do, closed mouths don't get fed. I didn't talk to Louis. I didn't talk to Sam. I didn't talk to multiple people. Even me and Roy didn't try to push for the Charlo fight and the Caleb fight on that same card. Me being from Vegas, it would have lined up good, whatever. But so my thing is this, right? Now I understand what you're saying about you got to beat somebody. Now these guys aren't willing to fight me. Some guy from the UK just lost yesterday I guess he was supposed to beat Sean Hemphill at 168, right? He just lost. They offered me that fight 2 months ago. I said yeah. They said they came back to me. I said, man, what happened with the fight? They said that he chose to go the other route. He didn't want to fight you. So there's not much I could really do except for ask for the fight. These fights.
But you
I'm
know
not. I'm
what?
not.
You gotta put yourself in a position where you just gotta keep plugging away, bro.
That's it.
I've been in that same boat. But you can't I never looked at it, I never took it as a slight, or I never felt it as a slight when I couldn't get the fight that I didn't think I deserved. I always felt like when the opportunity came, I was gonna seize it
That's
and
how I
put
feel.
my name where it needed to be.
That's how I feel.
And being that you have a promoter now, I was doing this without a promoter. Being that you have a promoter now, your team should be working on you to get the fights. Whether it's like, okay, we're gonna fight this prospect and I'm gonna knock him off, and then get myself ranked. If you're not already ranked, you might already be ranked. Once you get ranked, you can once he gets ranked, he can really get the bigger fights. But I was just never into that whole calling out thing until I did something, until
Yeah.
I did something and showed something. You know what I'm saying? When you get ranked, you know, you can kind of then say, okay, I want that guy, I want this guy. What is this guy? I'm 15. What is this guy at 13? What is this guy at 10? What is this guy at 8 doing? So, but I was just always under the belief like I can't look at what somebody else's situation is and say, well, I'm better than McCumbee. Why is he fighting McCumbee? Or I'm better than Resendez. I knocked the boy out, or I beat a boy that Resendez lost to. Like, bro, you can't look at that because not everybody's path is your path. You got to create your own walkway.
That's not what he was really getting at, though. He was getting at that he was did ask for a lot of different fights, which is what I was telling you before he came on. He
No,
dropped
but
off
I'm
because he was.
saying But if you're not getting them, have your team start making the fights that you need to be made. You might not be able to get the big names. The big names are trying to get money, but you can't tell me it's not a prospect out there that don't want to fight him. My man Thomas just mentioned somebody. You gotta have plans in this game. If you can't get this fighter or that fighter, you gotta have plans to get the prospect. You know how many prospects I fought? I fought like 3 or 4 prospects. I beat.
I think just real quick, just I don't want to cut anybody off, but I think people got a different interpretation of levels. Like I mean, when somebody says you're not on my level, it's
It's
not
not
like
boxing
I don't think
wise.
Ishe was
No, it's
trying to
not.
disrespect.
It's
No,
not.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Let me talk. I'm just saying it's not to disrespect the guy's skills because as fighters, everybody's going to think they're at the level of another fighter no matter what. It's not to disrespect. It says saying at the level of opponents that they have faced to get you to
Now,
the
okay,
next
no,
fight
no.
to
Let me
go
let
up.
me let me.
So I don't think like when he say it's not the
Hey, let
level
him let him
because he
cook,
he
man. Let him
he, he
cook, man,
said good
before he
things
loses
about me.
signal.
Yeah. No. I say because in the beginning we opened
That's right.
up when Connor was saying that he knew Kevin Newman, and Ishe said he knew him too. Ishe said good things. He said he's a great fighter, and I've seen him multiple times in the gym. He's great, and he said his skills is great. So I don't think he was disrespecting,
Can y'all hear me?
him saying that he's not on the level as far as his
Yeah,
boxing
we can
skills.
hear you. We
It's
can
just
hear
as
you,
far as
man.
the opponent.
Yeah,
So
we can hear you.
go ahead. I just I just that's just wanted to throw that in there as far as the interpretation of the word
Yeah,
levels.
all I'm saying is that when you have a
He
team,
froze.
when you have a team behind you, you got to be your team has got to be the one.
Hold on,
Like if
hold
I,
on. Let him speak.
There,
Please let him
is
speak.
am I back in though?
Yeah, you good.
Yeah, no. So no, I mean, I understand what Isha is saying, right? Like I get it. All I was saying is I heard the level thing, and I'm like, nah, we can't sit up here and say that, But at the end of the day, I understand in terms of boxing, like where he's at in his career. Yeah, he's a top guy in the division. He's fighting at a different. He is fighting at a different level. But at the end of the day, I mean, yeah, you want an opportunity, you got to ask for it. Social media is one hell of a tool to use. I mean, a lot of these guys that may not be getting these calls for these guys are using social media to their advantage. So that's why I was calling for that fight. Do I believe I beat Caleb? I believe I beat Caleb 10 times out of 10. Absolutely. And that's how I feel. I've always felt like that. This isn't something that just came out of nowhere. This is something that I've been felt like that. And I mean, Ishe, me and you have had a similar career in terms of taking a couple losses early on. You fought hell of some really top guys on your way up. Punchers, guys you weren't supposed to beat. I was a fan of yours back in the day, so I understand. Taking that tough road, and you understand where I'm coming from. But at the end of the day, yeah, we are looking for opportunity, and Floyd was able to deliver and get you opportunities. A couple times. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it's just part of the game, bro. I'm just trying to get my foot in the door, and all I could do is just keep staying active and keep winning fights, man. That's it.
all
You
I'm
know.
saying is once if you can't get the big names, because the big names they you would either have to be like a replacement opponent or so yeah, like somebody would have to fall out. Nobody's
Yeah, no.
gonna want to.
What me and Roy had told them, we was like, we're willing to fill in. Hold on, I think it cut me off.
No, you good. We can
Hold
hear
on.
you.
All I'm saying is that when you're on, oh he when he clicked
Yeah,
off,
no, he's coming
but
back. He's coming back. He's
You
coming
hear me?
back,
No,
man.
no, no. Roy had called. He had called Lewis. Called and talked to Lewis de Cuba. And told him like, yo, if Charlo's opponent falls out or if Plant's opponent falls out, Kevin is willing to step in. So that's, of course, if you got to take that route, you got to take that route. I mean, but at the end of the day, it's like,
but you don't
if
you don't want to you don't want to get in a situation to where now you're like, and it's no disrespect, but you don't want to get into some situation that now you're a charity case.
right,
Now you're like going around. If this guy falls out, if that guy falls out, Kevin is ready. Kevin should be knocking the door down, fighting the fights he needs to fight to position himself. When I fought, I got 3 belts in my fucking room right now. 3 belts: the NABO, the USBA, and the WBC Continentals. They're not as important as my world championship belt that I got in this office too. But you know what those 3 belts did for me? They got me ranked in the top 10 of the other belts. So
yep,
now they got me ranked in the top 10 of all them organizations. So now I can look at the WBO, now I can look at the IBF and say, who should I fight? So now when my promoter comes to me and says, we got this guy for you, give it to me. But so what you got to do is put yourself in a position to where you're taking like a fight on paper that's 50-50, but you in your mind know that that fight for you is 100%. Like I
right,
took fights on paper that people thought were 50-50 fights. They thought me and David Estrada was a 50-50 fight. I was in camp with him. I knew it wasn't a 50-50 fight. He was sparring Vargas when I was sparring him. I took a fight with Paul Wolak that people thought because of his pressure that was going to be a 50-50 fight. I said, man, this motherfucker can't beat me on my worst day. So I knew it wasn't. But you got to take fights like that. So you got to find, and that is your promoter, or if you got a manager, that is their job to not pander you as you're some type of charity case looking for a Charlo fight if this opponent falls out. Because, bro, honestly, those guys on the way out. They not trying to fight you. Charlo got 1 foot out the door.
Yeah.
Plant, we saw that. He got 1 foot out the door. He not trying to fight you, bro. They know if you show up, and I told him, I said, man, if he translates, I said I ain't seen him fight in a while, but I said in the gym, motherfucker look like Roy Jones. I said if he gets that and he translate that in the fight, he'll be a dangerous motherfucker. I ain't seen you fight in a while. I don't even watch boxing that much besides the big fights. So if they see you in the gym and I'm saying that, and the other motherfuckers are saying that, why would they fight you just to risk it to say Roy Jones may show up in this fight? And I don't want to deal with that shit. So you got to put yourself in fights that make sense where you at in your career right now. So
Right.
if you're 13-2 or 13, whatever your record is,
Right.
if you're there right now, go find you a motherfucker that's 15-1 or 15-0 that everybody talking about. You ain't got to go fight no motherfucker that's been on TV that fought for a world title. You fight a motherfucker contender that maybe fought for the world title or had it or had it and then lost. I was 13-0, I think, when I fought Randall Bailey. He had more knockouts than I had fights.
See,
But I
now the
said, I
thing
want,
is getting those
I
fights
want the
though.
opportunity. You got it. That's your promoter's job.
Yeah,
That
no,
and
it's
whoever
it's
you,
tough. It's tough though. It's tough. Trust me, it's tough.
eh,
Like I got it. The WBA, NABA super middleweight title right now, and it's tough. Like because these guys, I don't know. Social media is a good tool, but sometimes I maybe you see too much. I don't post my sparring shit. We a couple times I did it when I was younger, but I thought it was corny as I got older. You know what I'm saying? It's not. What's in the gym is in the gym, but now it's like they see you and they're like, man, I don't know, this guy might be dangerous. This guy is dangerous. This guy is dangerous. So like me, I don't do the charity case thing. I don't call this guy, call that guy. I called out Caleb, and that's based off of me feeling like, yeah, of course I want that fight, and I feel like I could beat him. But it was more so a thing of, you hear people say slick shit all the time, and you hear this guy says this guy says that. It's like, okay, well, nigga, if you feel like that, then we could fight. We're fighters, and obviously it's business behind it, but that's just my stance on it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, but at the end of the day, it's tough. It's tough getting them fights with them guys, and it's like there's not much I can really do about it except for I don't have no like Devin. I'm working with Devin, right? So Devin's helping
mhm.
me out or whatever. But it's more so just me doing my own thing, and so it's tough, me, Roy, and Roy will make his calls or whatever, but it's tough getting
If
what
Devin,
you're saying.
if you're working with Devin,
Yeah,
Devin should put you in a situation where boxing is so open now. So if you're working with Devin, Devin should put you in a situation where you're fighting like a guy from the Saudis, like a guy that they're hyping
yeah,
up.
no, that's what we're
You
trying. We're trying to get in something like
yeah,
that.
you gotta
Yeah,
be you. Unfortunately for you, you gotta be in a situation like I said, where you're coming in as kind of like a B side,
yeah,
where people
yeah,
think you're gonna lose, but
yeah.
you know you're gonna win. But I was never big on like the. I get it now. You got to call, but these guys at the top ain't gonna fight you, man. That's just the bottom.
No,
They're
I
not gonna
get you.
fight you. They're
Yeah,
not gonna fight you. So you got to have a
I'll put
team
that on the
of.
screen, goddamn it. Fuck it. 'Cause
yeah.
me and
No, I
you been
mean,
And
arguing
I
for about
mean,
an hour.
I'll put it like this, man. Like I understand what you're saying because yeah, people they say, oh, Newman's talented, oh this and oh that, but it's like yeah, like being a hungry fighter and having finally put all that shit together, it's like, yeah, it's dangerous for anybody on any given night. You know what I'm saying? So like,
Mhm.
dealing with me. So it's like, it's like, yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying, but I was just like, wait, on when I heard on not on his level, I'm like, wait, hold the fuck on now.
No,
Hold
when
on now.
I
Hold
when
on,
I
hold on,
when
hold
I
on.
say
See, that's what
when
I'm
I
saying, bro.
Hold
no
on
when
now.
I
That's
say
what I'm saying.
when I say levels, I mean like strictly where he's at in his career and where you're trying to get to.
Absolutely, I get you. I get you. But I put it like
And
this, Isha.
so
I know you haven't seen me fight in a long time. But seeing Caleb fight the other night, if you seen me fight lately, I would have knocked Caleb ass out within
I didn't
six
even
rounds.
watch that fight.
And
I
that's and that,
didn't.
and that's just
But
that's
I
how
saw
that's how
some
I really
clips.
feel.
But
Yeah,
you got to understand though,
yeah.
man. He's on the back nine. Like I told these guys, he's on the back nine, and you probably will. That's
I'm
probably
afraid.
another reason.
Yeah.
That's probably another reason he don't want to fight you. These fighters that been through a lot of wars, that's on the back nine, they definitely not. They trying to get in where they fit
Of
in,
course,
make
they're
a
trying to get
payday,
that
get
get
up
that
like,
paper. Yeah, no, I get
and
you. I
get
get
out of
you.
here.
I get
So
you.
the job is if you're working with Dev now is to, and it's your job too. If you're independent, Your job is to go find you somebody. You
No, I
feel me?
do, man. Listen, I talk to
Go
these guys.
find you some.
I talk to Gilberto with the WBA, man. You know, I do a lot of politicking, man, a lot. You know, just to try and get my foot in the door. Like, I mean, I tell these guys, like, you know, I look on Box Rec, I look at this guy, look at that guy. I'm like, any of these guys that's ranked above me, I have no problem fighting not any one of them, whether that be in the
Why don't?
sanctioned
Why
body or
haven't you
whatever.
signed with the? Why haven't you signed with the promoter? You're promoterless.
No, yeah, I haven't been signed with Floyd since 2020.
So that in itself can help you out right there.
Yeah, yeah.
You
No,
don't
no,
want
that's the thing. Yeah,
you shouldn't be in this climate. You shouldn't be promoterless. You
yeah.
just
No,
shouldn't be.
yeah. You
You
know,
need
so
you can't because that right there. I was telling these guys, when you're on the B side, when you step onto the plate, you got two strikes against you. When you're promoterless and the promoter has no options on you, no way to know anything about you, bro,
right,
that's gonna make it hard. And it's especially if you're trying to fight guys with a promoter. Why am I gonna go get my guy beat?
right.
So the best thing to do is to go out and get yourself a good promoter, whether you fighting over there with Devin when he fights the other people, or
Yeah,
whether you find somebody here like maybe like a Golden Boy or somebody that can have your back to where their obligation is to get you fights.
right. No,
Because
no, and that's kind of like what
even though
Dev is
I
trying
was
to
on
do.
the yeah, even though I was on the B side for some of my fights in my career, I was always tied with the promoter. I was never taking those fights on my own. Like when
Right.
I took those fights on the B side with promoters on my team. Like Lou DiBella, when I took the Danny Jacobs fight, I was with Lou. When I took the cool power fight, I was with Golden Boy. When I took the Danny Jacobs and Fernando Guerrero and those fights, I was with
Yeah,
Lou. So
yeah.
get yourself a promoter that can move you accordingly. And you don't want to be out here freelancing, man. In this,
No, no, and
because
that's
if I'm a promoter and I got a fighter that's coming up that's 12 or 13-0, why would I risk my fighter, even if he's 12-0, 13-1, 15-1? Why would I risk him with you and you beat him and go off and now you're free? I would have to get options or something.
no, of
And
course, of course, of
the
course.
job as a promoter is to promote you, but the job of a promoter is to make money. I
Right.
ain't trying to, if I'm promoting Kevin Newman, I'm trying to make money and down the line.
Yeah,
Trying
no,
to make
definitely,
money.
definitely, definitely. No, I get you,
So,
I get you, I get you. No, I mean,
you want to,
me and Deb working on a few things. In the meantime, is just staying busy because a fighter that's just sitting, you get stale. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
right.
staying busy, but then when he fights, obviously he's doing this turkey stuff, so it's a little different now. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's a lot different. Turkey's only doing real like big, big fights only type of thing. So but we gonna work something out, man. It's just about just staying proactive and staying busy, man. Just keep
So you
you
got
know
no promoter and no manager. You just
uh
working with
just
Dev.
just working with Deb. Yeah, Deb. Yeah, just Deb. No
Yeah, you
manager.
got to get
Yeah.
you got to get yourself in a position where you have somebody talking for Kevin Newman, and it's not
Right.
just your trainer.
Yeah.
Whether that's whether that unfortunately you may have to give somebody a percentage to get you the fight you want, because
Right.
otherwise you're gonna be climbing up a hill with a weight vest on your back trying to get those fights, man.
Right. Right.
Because nobody has options on you.
Right.
Nobody has any options on you. So ain't no promoter gonna want to get their guy beat. So I
Yeah.
don't
No,
know
it's
if
true.
that's been like a game plan of you guys to stay promoterless or managerless, but you guys should probably look into doing that. Just at least if you don't want no manager, at least on the promotion side. What I don't understand is Top Rank is right here in this city, and they hardly ever sign the Vegas fighters. They never
Yeah. Yeah.
look at the Vegas fighters. I've never worked with Top Rank, and I don't get that, man. I
Yeah,
don't
man.
get that. But maybe something like Pro Box. You know what I'm saying? Maybe
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
like Pro Box. But you got
Yeah,
to
no,
get yourself in a
that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at possibly. I know BLK Prime is doing some stuff right now in Pro Box, so it's like either working to see what we can work out with them two. You know what I'm saying? So
Well, yeah,
yeah.
I know the owner. I know the owner of Frobox. So if you want me to make a call over there, I can.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. No,
because
it's all
because
good.
number one, you want the right fights. Number two, you want to be seen.
Yeah.
Because the more people that see you and not just know social media shit, the more people that can tune in and actually see you fight on TV and be like, man, that motherfucker is smoking. That's
Yeah.
gonna do well for you. Then that way you really want it. They'd be like, man, we want to see that kid. So that and it's everything. I was fortunate enough, even before I signed with Flow, like a lot of my fights were televised.
Yeah.
A lot of them.
On Showtime. Yeah, I
So
remember.
yo,
Yeah, I remember. I
Showtime, man,
remember.
Showbox. So
Yeah.
you want to be seen, you want to put yourself out there to be seen, but you definitely want to have somebody, whether
Yeah.
it's a manager or even an advisor, you say, man, I ain't giving you 20 or 30%. I'll give you 10 or 15% to make these fights.
Right.
If you don't make X amount of fights, or at least have me some offers within this amount of time, then the contract is void. So
Yeah.
you gotta kind of position yourself to take that next step. But when you out here free balling and you just out here winging it, Roy calling people, you looking at people, dog. That shit is even hard at my age.
No, it's
That
tough.
shit
It's
is
tough.
hard.
Yeah, it's tough.
So ain't nobody gonna
It's
fight
tough.
you because don't nobody want to get beat.
Yeah.
Don't nobody want to
It's
beat
Mm,
tough.
what
It's
they
tough.
promoting.
Right. No, that's true.
damn,
It's
boy.
true. It's true. So yeah, no, I appreciate it. We gonna definitely make some stuff happen,
Yeah,
man. Because time is of the essence. So
It is, man. You don't
for
get,
especially
you
in
sure,
the
know,
heat of
for
my
sure.
prime. So
but you
yeah,
got time though, man. I didn't win my title till I was like in my mid 30s.
yeah,
You got
yeah,
time as long as you're doing the right thing out of the gym. You ain't drinking,
yeah.
you
No, no,
ain't
no, 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 no,
smoking.
no.
You can't have you.
I'm probably the
Yeah,
freshest
you can't.
33-year-old in boxing.
Yeah, you can't have
Man, let me
two
say something.
different
Let me
things.
say something because I know that the crowd, the people that are in the chat, man. Yes, I know the people over there pro box, but everything doesn't fall in place that easy. That's the part
Yeah,
that
no, it's
the
different.
people don't understand. Even if you throw a name out there, sometimes it sticks, sometimes it don't. Man, when Top Rank hit me up looking for opponents for Tiger Johnson, I sent them like 4 different box recs, man, from people I have, and they turned all of them down.
Yeah,
So it ain't just like, okay, yeah, you know them, that's cool, but it don't always pan out
yeah.
to a fight.
Well,
It
you
could.
I had got one offer from Pro Box, and I already had a date lined up, and it was just like that was it. But other than that, I haven't really dealt
you
with
gotta
with
you got unfortunately for you, being that you have the talent and people may not want to fight you, you gotta put yourself, you might be in a situation where you're a bona fide opponent, and you
yeah.
can, you're gonna bona fide be on the B side, but you in your mind, you're the A side, and
Right,
that's just
right,
how
of course.
you gotta take it. I've had I was talking to these guys earlier. I've had fights like that where I
Yeah,
was the
We was
B side.
talking. We was talking. I thought we was
Yeah.
yelling at each other.
Where I had B side I was a B side opponent, but I didn't have a B side mentality. And I
yeah,
went,
nah,
like I
nah.
said, I went to New York and beat they fighter when I was on the
Right,
B side. So
right,
you're gonna have to put yourself, because it's hard kicking down that door when you ain't got nobody. It's even
right. No, it's true.
harder when you got talent and they're not trying to get none of that fighters beat that they've invested in.
Yeah.
So that's tough. But I don't know, man. Roy seemed like he should have some connection. I don't know why, like
No,
Top Rank wouldn't.
Roy's still tied in. I mean, he had reached out to I think it's what's his name over there oh man, not Todd DeBuff. It's another guy over there.
I don't know.
It's,
Brad Goodman,
they're
I know
match
is over there.
Brad Goodman and
Yeah.
the other one
I don't know.
the
Yeah. I
matchmakers.
don't
Yeah,
know why they wouldn't just even like just
but they
offer
don't have
you
no
like the
68 pound. They don't have no 68
yeah.
pounders over there either
And
though.
that's even better though. Why wouldn't
Yeah,
they just offer you something to promote you? I mean, you're a Vegas kid.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
I've never understood
And
that
I
about them,
haven't burned no
man.
bridges in boxing, man. And, so I don't do my. I ain't never
I
went
don't, yeah,
on
I
record,
don't
and I
know.
don't do that.
Yeah, I don't know why they won't. Top Rank has always confused me with that shit, man.
Yeah,
Always. I've always been baffled by that. How the local kids with talent, they've just surpassed. I don't know. Even if they could say, all right, we're not gonna give you no bonus, but we'll give you fights.
right,
I don't understand that. Like it's not gonna cost them nothing to fight you.
right,
You could have fought on the Keyshawn Davis card. You could fight on the cards they have here. Like that doesn't cost anything. They could even say, we're gonna put you in this fight to see how you look and go
right.
from there. And if you look good, we're gonna sign you. I just don't know what these promoters be doing, man. I
Yeah,
have no idea
yeah,
what they be
I be
doing.
I be knowing what they be doing. They be on that bullshit, but that's another story for another day.
yeah. But no, I just had to tap in with y'all, man, and
Yeah, yeah,
see
yeah,
what
yeah,
was
yeah,
up,
man.
man. You
Hey,
know.
man, hey, don't worry, man, Kevin, man. I mean, shoot, it was pretty heated for about a good hour straight. Me and him going toe to toe.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm loyal to the soil, so you
No,
already
no, I
know I'm
appreciate you,
standing
baby. I
10 toes with
appreciate
you,
you.
bro.
No, I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Nah, man, me and Isha go way back, man. Like I was,
Yeah,
I
I
was, I
know,
was
I
watching,
know.
No,
I was watching Isha, I was
keep
watching Isha as a kid on a contender, man. You know, so
Man,
Yeah,
it's all
keep
good.
plugging away, man.
Yeah,
33 is
yeah.
still young. Like I said, I didn't win my
yeah,
title till I was in 2013. So shit. I was already in my 30s like you,
yeah,
man. But
yeah.
you gotta start getting them fights, man. That's more important than anything. When I said
Oh,
level,
true.
I meant like, you gotta put your name out there, man.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you in that situation where you got a lot of talent and them A side opponents
Mm.
ain't gonna want to fight you.
Oh, it's
They not
tough, bro.
knocking
It's
down
tough.
your door. So
It's
you
tough.
gotta beat the opponent and be like, you know what, or position yourself to get those fights.
It's
But you
hard.
gotta get
It's
team
weird
behind
because it's like if whenever whatever recent footage you like people see of me is either whooping somebody ass or knocking somebody out. You know, or my training footage is like I look. You know, I mean I don't do nothing for the gram now. If I post training footage, it's because that's what I actually do on an everyday everyday basis. You know what I'm saying? Of course, it's like people
you.
ask, they want to see me train, they want to see me fight, they want to see this, they want to see that. So I post stuff, but it's like at the end of the day, I can't, I can't look bad. You know what I'm saying? I can't look bad on
Mhm.
purpose to where it look vulnerable. You know, it's not too much I could do about that. But like you said, it's just keep, keep trying to kick that door down, man, and
Yeah,
keep,
you gotta kick it down,
doing
man.
whatever you can do.
You gotta tell like you gotta change your approach. You
Yeah.
don't want to be no charity case calling to
No, no,
be a
no. That was just
report.
with that one. That's the only time
Yeah,
that's ever
but
happened. It was
tell
just a
him
situation.
yeah, tell him don't even make them kind of
Niggas didn't
call.
know, and niggas didn't even know if Charlo was gonna make it to the fight. So, that was the whole thing. If Charlo was gonna make it or his opponent, people didn't know, and then it was just like, well, shit. Newman's a local guy. If some shit falls out, he's there. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
So, that was more so what that
You
shit
should
about.
even talk to Dev about trying to get you on the Canelo Crawford card. I heard today that's gonna be here. Even
Yeah,
if you
no,
fighting like even if you're fighting like off TV, but you on that card, man. You
yeah, no,
gotta just position
he's
yourself.
he knows it's like, and I told him I was like, you when you get a chance, just let Turkey know, like, I got a guy, and he's willing to fight anybody. You know what I'm saying? And it's just that simple, So it's like whether if they came with me with an offer for one of their guys or one of Bud's guys or whatever the case may be, I'm all for it. So
Yeah, but
Mm.
don't take no more fights in Mexico, bro.
no, 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 they fucked me. I mean, they
If
fucked,
that
yeah,
shit is off TV, don't take that shit.
yeah,
You
it's
want to
just
be here. You want to be here. At least if
yeah.
you here, you're you don't have as many cards stacked against you as going
Yeah, no,
over
no,
there.
no. I mean, and it was like, it was for me. It was like, how at times with Floyd, it was like, you're sitting around, and it's like I hadn't fought in like 15 months. It's like, what I'm saying, like I got a career, I got kids. It's like I got to do what I got to do, and it was just a situation where it was like it came up, and I'm like, as a fighter, you're like, of course, yeah, I'll fight anybody. I'll fight anybody. I'll fight anybody. Then you start finding out more details, and then by the time you get there, it's like, oh, we here now. So it ain't nothing really to, we in the door. It's like we ain't gonna turn our back now at this point. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you live and you learn, though.
Starting with Floyd was the biggest hindrance of your career because you were so inactive, like everybody else over
Yeah,
there. Everybody
yeah,
was
yeah.
inactive, bro.
It's tough. It's tough.
Everybody was hella.
And
Everybody
don't
was
get me wrong,
hella.
I appreciate the opportunities that I was given, but I do feel like I should have been more active. To kind of
Yeah, man.
to yeah,
When you starting off, you need to be fighting like every couple months, 2 to 3 months.
yeah.
There's no
No,
reason
definitely.
you shouldn't run off 5 to 10 fights in a year, easy.
No,
Especially if
definitely.
you only go on 4 rounds, bro. Four.
Yeah,
Knock out a couple 4 rounders, knock out a couple six. Now you moving up to 8,
right.
moving up to 10. Moving up to 10. So
That's why I'm
that's
just
all.
trying. That's why I'm trying to stay active right now. So it's like, that's like I just fought March 29th, and then I'm gonna fight again either July 5th or July 11th, and then then possibly August. So just trying to stay busy just throughout the year, just so I'm not just sitting around. You know what I'm saying? That's the
Mhm.
worst thing a fighter could do is sit around.
Yeah,
And
worse,
I'm not.
especially
Yeah,
when you're in your
yeah,
situation.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
real,
yeah,
especially when you're
yeah,
trying to prove your name. That's the worst
yeah.
thing you can do.
The
Because
only thing
not
I can
only
do
is
is
you
keep winning and keep getting footage. That's it. That's all I
right,
can
yeah.
really do. You know.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
That's it.
who got
So,
the 68 pounders? Who is all
man,
the 68 pounder?
they all kind of spread out, man. I mean, it's like, but I know like Pro Box they have two guys, and then Golden Boy has a few guys, and then everybody else for the most part is just like there ain't really that many. PBC has a few,
Mm.
but But if you're not, it's like you said, if you're not with those guys, then it's like, why would they match you up with their guys? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But
Yep.
I've had talks. I mean, I had talks, and it's like even guys like you sit there and look at guys like Boo Boo Andre that's sitting around. It's like I would if they called me, I'll fight him in a heartbeat. You know what I'm saying? It's
Mm-hmm.
like a guy like him who can't really get a fight. It's like okay, well shit. I would. They said they're like, yo, we want you to fight Boo Boo. I would do that in a heartbeat. And he's a hell of
Yeah,
a fighter. Don't get me wrong.
those are the type of fights you need to take. You feel
Yeah,
me? You
yeah,
need those.
I'm all for it. But all I could do is just tell them guys like, hey, look, I'm available. And that's that. There's not too much else I could really do about it. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the
Yeah.
day, like you said,
Yeah.
I don't bring much to the table except for talent. It's like I'm not Roy Jones,
Right.
I'm not Devin Haney, but I do know what I bring to the table. And if people want to see, some live shit in the ring, then they would tune in to watch me. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah, and
you know,
honestly, you don't need nobody. First of all, you don't need nobody to to believe in you besides yourself.
oh for sure, for
The
sure,
number one, that's all you need.
for sure.
No matter if it's fighting fucking King Kong or
Yeah,
Godzilla,
yeah,
as long as you believe you can win, you good. So you don't need
absolutely.
nobody, but do need the right team to help you navigate and get where you need to go, man.
Yeah, no,
That
definitely, definitely.
you need that more than
That's what I said.
anything.
That's what I said. That's what I
Yeah,
keep saying, man. That's why I kept saying, man, fuck the damn thing you was talking about earlier. Don't nobody give a fuck about a level, man. We going in here. Nobody goes in there thinking that. Everybody's going
No,
in there
but I'm
thinking
saying,
I'm gonna whoop somebody's ass and
but
that's it.
that's fine.
I mean,
But I'm saying
even with
when
Ishe beat J Rock to me, and a
when
lot of
I when
people.
I
Go ahead.
when I was saying that, when I said level, of course he's not going in there thinking he's not on that level. I'm particularly talking what Caleb's mind is. That's what his mind and his team's mind is. And
So
why am I
like I said,
gonna fight?
Caleb's a bitch. Like I
No,
said,
No,
Caleb's a
no, no,
bitch.
no, no. This is
that's not a
this is
Simple.
my
bitch.
thing. No, no, but Ishe, this is
That's
my
not a
thing.
bitch. It's just business. It's the
No, but
way
Ishe,
this
this is
game
my
it
thing.
works.
Then if you feel like that, then don't go around running your mouth about a nigga. If you feel like that, then just keep it shut. Because if you're not willing to
Right.
do something
Well,
about it, then
that's some personal
yeah,
shit. Then
yeah.
I'm
So then
just talking.
if you're not
I'm
willing to
talking
do something
about
about it, then
boxing
just yeah,
wise.
yeah.
I'm
No, I
talking just
understand what you're saying though,
strictly boxing wise. But you got to show them. You know what I'm saying?
for
You
sure.
can show them. You can show them better than you can tell them. So you just
That's how I
need that
feel.
one. You need, like Vernon Forrest told me, man. You just need that one opportunity,
Yep,
bro.
yeah,
One opportunity to beat somebody
yeah,
and get yourself in that position. You just need
yeah,
that one opportunity.
yeah.
Look
That's
at look
it.
at
And
Queen.
once you
Look at Queen
and once you
71.
get
Queen.
once you get that one opportunity, you can't look back.
No, no,
Don't
for sure.
squander
And
that
you
shit.
got
You
to go
can't.
stand on business. You got to go do what you got
Yeah,
to do.
man. You get
Yeah,
that one
for
Damn.
sure,
opportunity. You can't go
for
out
sure.
there and stank it
No, no,
up.
no, no, no,
You
no,
got
I
to
no,
go
tell
no.
you,
out there
man.
and
You got to
stand
put that
on
shit on the
business.
line. Yeah, you got to
Yeah,
stand on business
man.
for sure, for sure.
It's
You
ridiculous,
know.
man. Queen 71, man. We've been to the shooting range together.
But
We've
hey,
been all over
I'm gonna
together.
jump off, man. I'm gonna jump off and go do what I got to do, man.
Hey,
I just had to
call me
check in.
tomorrow
All
in the
right,
evening,
Kevin.
man.
Stay
Yeah.
up,
Call me
man.
tomorrow
All right.
evening.
All
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 right,
right,
right.
bet.
man.
Okay.
Yo.
Yeah.
Hey, Queen 71, hold up, man. We've been to the range. We've been to damn lunch together. We done did all this other shit. You ain't supposed to be defending Ishe over me. You know what I'm saying? You ain't supposed to be, man. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, this was dope. I mean, this is good. And I mean, wow, you made the call,
No,
Con. No, that's
I'm glad he
crazy.
did because I'm not the one that's going to say something that I would say to y'all, not that I would say to somebody's face. Even if he's interpreting it wrong, I'm going to explain why I said it. And like I said it because not on that level boxing wise, but I kept telling Kano, like, he got to beat somebody. He got to beat somebody to show he's on that level, that I belong here. You know what I'm saying? It's not nothing
Mhm.
personal. It's a business. That's how boxing is. It's always going to be like that. And as long, he just got to
Yeah,
fight the fights. I never looked at it as a personal thing, man. Just you got to keep knocking, man. You got to keep knocking.
yeah, definitely. But we went way over our time limit. KG ran off on us. But I mean, I don't got anything more. You say, man, it was great. I mean, you gave both sides, the A and the B side. You know, I thought this was a great live. Gano, I don't know if you got anything
Nah,
else. I mean,
bro, man. Nah, hey. I'm gonna tell you one more thing. Hey, Ishe. Caleb's a bitch.
No, man. Even though, listen, even though I don't rock with him, even though I don't rock with him, and I took that personal when he was giving my man Tony Harrison game pointers, and I was begging this motherfucker to spar. I'm always gonna give him credit, man. I ain't never gonna call anybody get in that ring ain't a bitch, man. So I'm gonna give him his credit.
you mentioned that earlier. What did he do? You was when you before your fight with Tony Harrison, he was
Yeah, he
giving
was.
him
I
pointers,
didn't know.
like you
No,
sparred
I
with
was.
Caleb.
It was like I was begging him to. Like I was asking him every day. Like, let me get some work. Let me get some work. He never wanted to spar, but he would watch me work and go back and tell Tony what I was doing in the gym. Because him and Tony was
Wow,
cool. So I took that personal, and I've never been cool with dude. Like I'm never cool with him, but I speak on what it is. It ain't nothing personal. I just don't fuck with him like that. But when it comes to me talking about his career, I'm gonna give him his credit and shit like that. But fuck him on a personal level. I don't fuck. But I ain't gonna call the man a bitch. Even though that was a bitch move he did, I ain't gonna call him a bitch.
that was a,
It
that
was a
that was
bitch
a
move,
bitch move.
man.
That's crazy.
Hold on,
Even
hold
that.
on. Let me.
Wow.
Hey, Thomas. How do I put myself on the screen?
Oh,
Caleb.
like that. Okay.
Caleb
I
Plant
don't know.
is a bitch. Yeah, that way they know it was me who said it. There, Ishe. You see that? Did you
I
see
feel
that?
you.
But Iche, that
That
was a
was a
bitch
very
move he
made
did.
bitch move.
That's
Very made
crazy.
bitch move.
Yeah, that's fucked up. Wow.
Yeah. Now what?
But
What's he gonna do about it now? That's what I want to know. What's he gonna do
But
about it?
man, listen, your homework should be you got contacts at Pro Box. I know it's hard. I know it ain't your thing, but get that
Oh, it
man in
is
the
my
situation.
thing. That's what you don't know. It is my thing. I
No, I'm
manage
saying
boxers.
I know. I mean, it's not your. I know how the pieces move, and they don't all move at a certain pace. I know that's not your thing, is what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is get him in a situation where people think he's an opponent or something, and he can go out there and shock the world. That's what you gotta. That's the kind of situation he's got to be placed in, and he got to be the B side. I mean, shit. It's called the B side podcast. You can make it happen.
Yeah, man. I mean, like I said, man, I've been around it. That's why I know a lot of people that turned the fights down, a lot of people that wouldn't fight him. And I mean, shit, and then when he did get something, he already had a date for something else. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's what I try to explain people. All of this just ain't a snap of the finger, people. This shit don't work out like that. Like, it's not that simple. Like, yeah, I could go pro box, but if they don't have somebody available anytime soon, then what's he gonna do? Sit and wait?
No, stay
You, you,
active.
you get what I'm saying?
But
Like
the
I know you understand that part of it, Ishe, but I'm talking to the people in the chat, because they think anybody could just snap their
Nah,
fingers. It don't
that's
work
why I
like
said
that, man.
that's why I told you I know it ain't your thing. Like I know you can't just make it happen. I know how those things work.
Yeah. Then we sit at the table and be like, oh man, this what we gonna offer, this, that. And then the negotiation starts. And then if the money and the shit don't add up right, and then they don't want to pay for this or they don't want to pay for that, all kind of things start falling apart, man. Shit ain't as simple as people think, bro.
No, it's not. It's not.
It's not that simple, man. And then you got a lot of these promoters, like the ones like that are not as big as Top Rank, man. Like let's say the Box Lab Promotions of the world, the RDRs of the world, the OTXs of the world, man. If they got fighters signed, they gonna move them strategically. They're not gonna want to put them in there with somebody that can possibly beat their fighter because they got too much
That
money invested in them.
that is facts.
Yeah.
So this is just the way the business is, man. You know. And Ishe was a pleasure to chop it up with you and all that, man. Listen, I'm energetic like that. That's just who I am. You know what I'm
That's who
saying?
I am, man. And man, I appreciate you being in the actual house with good Wi-Fi. I don't. This guy's still at the train. He been at the train. Man, you went to you wifey sitting on the train, man. It's your anniversary. Take her somewhere, man. Get off the damn tracks, man.
Look! I even got the camera that follows me. You feel me? You see?
Yeah, man. This dude always sitting at the damn train station, man.
You see how they do me, man. This is every time I got Ishe on. He does me
Hey
dirty,
man, but
man.
this was a dope
Oh
ass
man.
episode for sure,
Man,
man.
yeah, man.
Uh, I know,
Man got married when he was 12 years old, man. Been
God
married to him.
damn, I don't
Man,
know, Ishe.
I didn't know you was of that culture, man. You got married when you was 12.
Damn, he do got a lot of gray hairs though, man. So I don't know,
Yeah, man. I
man.
I'm up there, man. I'm
You
approaching
you got any last words, man, for the viewing audience, man? Especially for Queen 71. She was your biggest
No,
supporter. She
man, I
defended you
appreciate it,
the
man.
whole argument. She was defending you, so you need to give a
Not
shout out
man,
to Queen
man.
71.
Shout out to Queen, man. I just keep it real, man. I'm gonna stand on business, man. Whether I'm wrong or right, I'm gonna stand on my beliefs, man.
Me
That
too.
was cool. It was cool. It was a good one because I can kind of tell y'all about both sides. So I've been
Yeah.
on both sides of that spectrum, A side and B side. But I hope Kevin gets his opportunity, man. I hate seeing that. Hate seeing that.
Yeah.
I've been knowing that kid for a long time. So I hope he gets his opportunity and he actually seizes it when he get it. Because if you get that opportunity and you don't seize it, you won't get another one.
All right, man. All right, man. Well. Thomas, you got any last words?
No, this was great. I appreciate
I
you, Ishe.
appreciate
Thanks for
y'all,
coming
man.
up. You know what I'm saying? I look forward to having you again, and I'll get the
Get the
Yeah,
Wi-Fi
Wi-Fi, man.
fixed.
Get off the train, man.
and
Get
he
off
looking
the
for hey
train.
Thomas, he gonna look forward to debating me again and arguing with me, man. I know he loved it.
We can do it. We can do it.
But anyway, man,
Anytime.
This was Tales from the B side, man. Episode 5 with Ishe Smith. Always brought to you by CO Management, DV Tracksuits. Big shout out to the mighty LDBC, Local TV. Man, we up out of here, man.